is it really going to work? If you apply the same attack that you're seeing right now out of EL 100 times, is it going to work 20, 30, 40, 50% of the time? And that's kind of what you have to play with, because depending on your opponent's layout, that could throw your entire strategy off. It might work out just fine. But looking at the lineup right now, the way everything's rolling out, I see External and Nits in 113. Zippy little heavies moving right up what we call the banana. That's the 7-8 line. And they'll start taking cover there, which is a strong control point. But look at the way the hill control is going to EL. They've got 2 or 3 tanks up top. And from there, there's been no real spotting yet by Elevate. So right now, what's going through Elevate's mind is they're thinking, all right, process of elimination. I haven't seen tanks where. Right, and to just kind of throw it out there, it's just looking at your southwest. You've got Wallhacks with a scout run. His little scout run will actually clear out quite a bit of that southwest region. You can see M1, Rattlesnake are all holding back just enough that Wallhacks really can't approach that. He can't get close enough to spot them, without, of course, probably going down and taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly default setup here from EL Gaming. They haven't really done all that much just yet. Setting up in their default positions, seeing if Elevate is going to maybe push into them if they can get a bit of a lucky damage out. But what I actually want to highlight here from EL Gaming, it's kind of interesting here that they've actually picked up 2 Type 5 heavies.
Yeah, actually, that is a great point to bring up. Oh, but real quick, before we get into that, 2 bounces. Onto is that Hardliner?
Hardliner,
Yeah, okay.
He's a very, very strong 113 player. It's basically his favorite tank.
Well, clearly right there. That was great angling. He knew exactly how to do it.
Very, very comfortable in that tank. If you see a 113 on the field, if you only see one, basically every time it's going to
and look at this right now. We've got a little bit of action from EL in the south. They're going to move in those Type 5s we were talking about. Let's jump back to talking about those. Reliable damage. That's what I look at when I see a Type 5. Oh, a nice shot. You're talking about Hardliner. Solid connection into Nits. And while this is happening, it's a nice distraction for those Type 5s and those mice.
He takes one in response, though. So overall, equal trade.
All right, that's going to even out. So you've got a total, though, of, and that reminds me of the total health pool, which you can see up top. 15,843 for Elevate, 17,270. Wow. And that's because those Type 5s, those choices of tanks.
Type 5s, and the fact that Elevate have taken 2 50Bs as well, as opposed to only the single 50B here on EL Gaming, which Fox TS is taking away. So it's a little bit of a heavier lineup here for EL Gaming. They're going to use that HP to try and push down, try and get control of the map here.
Yeah, and just bully out to Elevate, which they're about to do with Wallhacks. Although, look, Wallhacks is not spotted. He's going to try and make this last as long as he can, while everyone else from Elevate repositions to try and cover that approach from the south. Now, this is tricky because it's a 2-cap
And now he's spotted.
Okay, he's going to need to get out of here. He's on a timer. This will only last so long before he really wastes some potential. Late game, that's when you want a light tank to be able to move, because you can reset cap, all sorts of things.
There's a lot of shots coming out here from Elevate, but not too many are actually penetrating. Rattlesnake starting to take a little bit of damage here, but you can see how far forward M1 and Rattlesnake have actually managed to push here into Wallhacks. Barely taking any damage. I think Rattlesnake's taken maybe 1 shot worth of damage, and Wallhacks here, in theory, should be going down essentially for free.
He should be, although let's see how annoying he can make himself. Nope, not going to be able to make that happen, and there we go. That's the light tank out. But he did his job to a point. There's going to be a push from Elevate, try and set some tempo, take back a little bit of control, and they're going to 2v1 on Hardliner. If they can get him out quickly, if they can destroy him, that's going to be good for Elevate. That's going to mean they can start taking control and setting some tempo. And nice shots. 516. Oh, and a bounce right there from External. Nits needs to get this connection.
Hardliner knows he's in trouble here. That's why he tried to hightail it out of there and get back to his teammate Nice. But unfortunately for him, that's not going to work out too well. External is going to drop him. So overall, actually, that works out pretty nicely here for Elevate, where they've taken the 1-for-1 trade. But it's the tier 8 tank for the tier 10.
External is going to go down. Nice crossfire. That's 50B up top and down below with Nice.
And look at where Black is at the moment. He's got himself all the way up towards the 2 flag, almost up to the A line, and he's actually not spotted out right now.
Think about this. We'll have to return to him later, see if he's going to do it. But you could actually pressure the cap, the number 2 cap of the red team Elevate with that light tank, and that would actually cause a bit of chaos and give EL an opening to maybe
And even if not, he could just be a bit of a pest around the back, right? If you get behind someone in a tank like that, you're going to be able to put out some damage.
Yeah, it's get behind the 113s especially. Let's not work around the mouse, because the mouse is such a heavily armored tank that let's not play with that reliability. Now, jumping back over to the west side of the map where Dodoma is currently squared off, looks like that's HE coming out against M1. Looks like it's not worth it at that range, because of course your penetration is slightly lower than the mouse's front turret armor, so you're really depending a little on that RNG. Plus or minus, what is it, 10% penetration?
25.
25, sorry. That's, excuse me on that, just tripping up. And with that, you can't quite rely on penetrating the front turret of that mouse. So fire HE, get a little damage, maybe damage the gun, something like that. But let's remind all of our viewers about the newest update to tanks and what the large repair kit and the large med kit mean. Now you can just repair damaged modules, wait a few minutes, do it all again.
Exactly, and that's quite useful for a lot of the tanks that we do see coming out here. The mouse, you know, you take a bit of crew damage every now and then, but we just see a little bit of a push coming out from Elevate. They're trying to defend that flag, and honestly speaking, the way that things are looking right now, EL is in a very, very good spot because they have a massive health advantage. They've got good map control here as well, and I think it's really just a matter of time before EL Gaming decides to try and really push this in. But the only worry for me right now is there's only 4 minutes left here for EL Gaming. They don't have very quick tanks left alive. The 113's already down, and aside from the 50B, it's kind of going to be snail's pace really for EL Gaming.
I'm glad you brought that up because what I saw out of Elevate was the kind of posturing that you would go for if you're trying to push your opponent back.
Yeah.
If you sit back and you just try and play corner games all day as a defender, your opponent, like EL, is going to just keep creeping up and up and up. And if you look at it, actually, you're going to see that, over there on the east side of the map starting to move on in. And then we've got a 1v1 of Nice versus Oxmathis starting out. That's Type 5 versus Ox and the Mouse. Mouse is going to be able to reload a few more times, deal some significant damage, hopefully, to the side of Elevate. And see, Nitz is going to move in.
So bounce.
Yeah, but focusing damage should be able to make something happen. God Emperor Brett's going to move in. And if Nice can get a shot into the 50B, that's going to be good damage. If 113, he'll roll okay. That's a good 300-400. 500, nice shot.
Pretty good roll there from Nice, but he's going to start to get pressured here now by all of those Elevate players. You can see Nitz at the moment pushing forward. Doesn't manage to penetrate that shot, actually, so Nice gets away with a little bit extra and might get another shot off here. Depends on how much damage it's going to do, but Oxmathis...
But the hit point sharing, sorry to jump in, is the hit point sharing is what's working in favor in this 2v1 right now. But Nitz overextends right there, and he's going to pay for it. Fox TS, good play, solid cover. Is it going to be able to back up his battle buddy? And that's going to mean another tank down for Elevate. And this is looking like it's going to start in the favor of EL Gaming.
Yeah, I think so. I don't see Elevate being able to dig themselves out of this hole now. Oxmathis 300 HP. He's a one-shot to pretty much anyone. I mean, Canadian Impact and God Emperor Brett, 250Bs, they're very, very impactful tanks. But realistically speaking, the amount of HP that EL Gaming's got left, the cap pressure that they've got left as well, and the guns in the game, all favoring EL right now.
Exactly. There's the only room for real victory here is that a crossfire with the 50Bs and some serious mistakes, but if you look at it now, it's just about over right now. We just got God Emperor Bread on reload. You've got the EL team moving in. They've got cap, they've got hit points, they've got tanks alive. This has been a solid start and a rough start for Elevate. Solid though for EL. I have to give them props on that one. Maybe the Lobster was maybe the Lobster knows something I don't.
Yeah, but that's going to be, you know, a bit of a nerve settler, I think, there for EL Gaming. If they had any nerves, which it didn't really seem like they did, I think that was quite methodical play. It was slow, but there didn't seem to be anything that really struck me as like a incorrect play or a horrible play or anything like that, which might have thrown the game.
I agree, actually. It was very nice to see, and probably the guys will have to go back a little bit after this match, and this is a good little example, a nice lesson that you can show for how to just move up and keep the pressure. Now we look at the post-battle stats. Nice picking up 2 kills, and looking at the damage blocked and dealt, especially in this mouse mode, is going to be a big deal. So M1, 4,580 damage dealt. You got 3,900, 3,800 from the EL guys. The next is Nitz. So no one is even close to where EL was on dealing damage.
Yeah, 3.9k coming out of a Type 5 Heavy is actually quite impressive. It's generally speaking not a tank that you expect to see up the top.
And here we go. No damage blocked by external or another member of Elevate there. So you're noticing that comes into play here. That's what heavy tanks are about. That's what Himmelsdorf is. But we switch sides. And now we'll see how it goes, because you were talking about how attack in Himmelsdorf can be...
generally a little bit favorable.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that is that EL Gaming has a better defensive win rate on Himmelsdorf. 85%. They've won 11 out of the 13 games that they've played on Himmelsdorf defense in Season 2 of WGL APAC, where they only had a 54% on the attack. So this is actually, in theory, the favorable side for EL Gaming.
Okay, so they actually should perform better, and based on the last result, I don't know. But what we can say about this is it was battle number 1 for Elevate, first time up on the big stage. This is a team that is, in its current configuration, has not been tested at this level. So if I want to cut him a little slack, give me a little slack.
Sure. We can do that.
Maybe they come back and we'll see how this attack goes. But
I did say I think it's going to be a 1-1 before this game did start here on Himmelsdorf. So I'm going to stick to my guns there. I'm suspecting that Elevate's going to be able to come back here. I don't really think that EL Game is going to get off to a rocker of a start, but who knows? This is a fickle game.
And let's look at the lineups. We've got IS-4 Type 5, 113s, 2 of them, 250Bs, and an M. Was that an M4043?
Does look like it.
Yeah,
Black.
That's curious. Now, artillery's been changed around a little bit.
Splash.
Yeah.
That's what it's for here.
And that can work with, I think, a slightly more nimble lineup, so you hit a tank and then you jump on it, Wolfpack it kind of.
Right, but more so what I think it actually is for here is if, for example, Elevate tries to push into that 1 flag or into that 2 flag, ordinarily speaking, you wouldn't get those resets easily, but with Black there in the artillery, then that's a very real possibility.
That's gold. That's pure gold right there, because every single spot you would hide a tank, and every single little nuance about it too. You've seen how we've turned tanks on their side, we've turned them up and down, all sorts of things. The M4043 has just enough splash that he should be able to always get the reset. There shouldn't be any question about, oh, he barely misses it. And then we go Dodoma taking a little bit of damage down below. Up top, you've got wall hacks backed up by 250Bs, actually.
It would be dangerous here for EL Gaming if they push over this hill right into the 50Bs. Fox TS takes a big chunk of damage there. Hardliner is going to continue the push. He knows that he can beat that T10 in a 1v1, and he's actually managed to get that here. So this is not too bad for EL Gaming. They take a lot of damage there, but now Hardliner, he needs to try and clean up wall hacks and make this worthwhile.
And off of that push up top, you're going to see down below, up the banana, up the 8 line, is going to be 3 tanks out of Elevate just playing off that push. 50Bs are going to back off. They'll have time to reload and possibly pick up a kill. Look, Fox TS and Quiet are at less than 1,000 hit points, meaning those 50Bs can jump them and just take them down very, very quickly. They'll have to be watching out for that. On the other side, Wallhacks, yes, is down. And as far as hit points go, I think the trade is still in favor of Elevate. Position.
It's only a tier 9 tank, right? So it's not like they've lost the 50B or something like that.
Yeah, and now, looking at the position though of Elevate, I'm skeptical. Right now, this is a place where if they can't figure out what their next step is truly, they're going to find themselves split up and taken down. Dodoma in the open, not driving carefully enough, is going to go down to Quiet in the 50B. Nice shots there from Quiet, good positioning, and solid follow-up shots as well. He's got 1 left in the chamber and throws it out for nothing, but 2 tanks down on the side of Elevate, no tanks down on the side of EL. Hit points in favor of Elevate.
Yes.
But that's
Guns in the game is always something we talk about.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. Oop. There's goes Black. Okay. That's good for Elevate.
It is good, but...
Look at the positioning on the map. Who can get on the 1 cap?
Lots of people, actually.
Sorry. Who can defend the 1 cap for EL?
No one.
I really say, no one can do that. If Elevate realizes what they have...
They're not getting on the 1 flag. So Elevate, they want to try and take a fight here by the looks of things.
They also don't have all the intelligence they need to know that there isn't a tank in the south.
Yes.
Right? So they know that there are a bunch of tanks up north. They suspect they could get overmatched. And if you don't deal with that, EL will come back and they'll take your tanks down 1 by 1, and it doesn't matter about that 1 cap anymore, right? So they're going to turn it into a big old brawl.
Oh, here comes Quiet around the corner in the 50B. External and Nits both on the reload. Quiet's going to get enough time to get a second shot off there, but he'll have to back off now. Can't afford to take another shot from a mouse. He is essentially at a 1 shot right now. Give or take.
There we go. Hardliner goes down. That's good crossfire. That's what we needed to see. Canadian Impact in that 50B circling around. Focus fire is important right now. They're going to go for Quiet. If yes, he will go down. That's going to be good for it. Elevate. They should be able to follow this up with a few more kills. Those mice have enough hit points. They can still take a beating. And there, Hux Mathis is even joining the fight.
Yeah, this is looking really bad for EL Gaming. Nice does take down Nits there, though, equalizing things a little. It's 4 versus 4, but EL Gaming don't have the HP to play with here. Nice is a 1-shot, Fox TS is a 1-shot, and there goes Nice as well. So now tank advantage here for Elevate. I think they're going to be able to take this one away.
Yep, they've got guns, tanks, hit points, everything. It's maybe we see some heavy tank brilliance. That's the only thing left.
I think it's too late now for EL Gaming. I mean, M1's the only one with HP to speak of. Rattlesnake, he's a 1-shot as well. And he's actually trying to chase down God Emperor Brett, who is on the reload for 10 seconds. So if he can catch him.
He's less than 10% hit points, so now he's got adrenaline boost kicking in. So now he's going to actually reload. Oh, not going to matter.
Enough. Doesn't matter, though. Rattlesnake's going to be the only one left alive here for EL Gaming. And
well,
basically, he's got no chance.
He's pretty good, but he's probably not that good. You're right. And just give him a minute. He should be able to come on in, see what he can do. 5 minutes left. He can try to reset, do all he wants, but it's going to be a moment. And, here we go. Once External rounds the corner, he should see Rattlesnake and should be able to find a connection, get his kill, and he's spotted. Shot goes out. It's not
Missed.
quite. Nice bounce right there. Rattlesnake understanding how to angle his IS-4 just so. And that's an important thing right now on Himmelsdorf, especially with the mouse meta. If you're an IS-4 113, next to the mouse, you need to be careful about your armor angling because the mouse is going to bounce shells almost by its very nature.
Yep.
Whereas your IS-4, you're going to have to make sure you position it. You can't get lazy.
Well, there we go. So, Elevate, courtesy of Ox Mathis, is going to make it back to a 1-1. And so, for now, my prediction is proving correct, but I actually was a little disappointed by that from EL Gaming. They got the first 2 tanks down. They looked like they were in a fairly decent position, but then Elevate was able to bring things back.
I think the up top on Himmelsdorf, when we saw the west side up top with the 50Bs covering Wallhacks. Wallhacks was in a tier 9, and as he was up top there, used as bait, the 50Bs came in and dealt enough damage that I think it might have thrown EL off their game. Whatever game plan they had went out the window when they were ambushed.
Yep.
And then, of course, Elevate played off of that. The 50Bs knew they knew something was up. They've studied their opponent. The 50Bs are up top on the hill. There are tanks down below waiting for that. And the trigger is pulled, and those 3 move up. All of a sudden, I think Elevate knew exactly what they wanted to do, and everything was going according to their plan. That's why they won. It was all according to their plan. EL fell into it. They were behind in tempo, and Elevate was just telling him what to do. They were pulling the strings, and yeah, you give them. They put up a good fight, of course, but not when your opponent's doing exactly what they want to do and you're not. That's where you really don't stand much of a chance.
Yeah, having a look at the damage numbers here, things looking a little bit better for Elevate this time than what they did in the previous round. No damage to block their Black Canadian Impact, but he was in a 50B, so it doesn't really matter. 3k damage dealt, that's pretty much where you want to be hitting, I think, in a 50B. 2.5k to 3, you'd be feeling happy.
Yeah, it's something upper end of performance right there, so that's something to look for. Now, Dodoma, look at this in the T10. He did not get a lot done, and that's actually something that I was worried about early in the battle when he went down. I thought that might come into play, but it looks like everyone else was able to kind of pick up and carry on without him.
I think it's fair to say that the M4043 hasn't worked out there for EL Gaming.
I don't agree with that choice on Himmelsdorf. It's artillery.
I can see the sense in it, but it just didn't work.
Yeah, it's not really going to pan out most of the time. In my opinion, I feel like you could drop that M4043 and pick up a tier 10 and just drop it down to something, a lower artillery piece, because all you're going to do is you're trying to splash. You're never going to actually depend on reasonable damage, because on Himmelsdorf, you've got 4 or 5 really solid angles from anywhere on the map, and that's it. That's all you have. You can't play with much more, you don't have the ability to deal real significant damage, and you can't take any real damage. You can't maneuver much because you won't be able to flex north to south, or you get where I'm going. It's not a flexible enough tool for that map.
Not on Himmelsdorf, that's for sure. But Himmelsdorf is done and dusted now, 1 apiece, fairly even. I think we can't really read into it too much. Now moving on to Mines though, and I gotta say, this is a good prospect here for EL Gaming because this has been their best map throughout the entire season, and they have an 84% win rate overall on the map. 92% win rate. They dropped 1 round on Mines defense last season, or in this season, I suppose. And that was against Karen Tiger, but they have looked very, very good on this map.
And I have to completely agree. And when I was watching EL, I really liked the Mines play. I think between Elevate and EL, this is one, like you were saying on Himmelsdorf, you felt like comfortable with the 1-1. I feel comfortable with the 1-1 here.
All right. Well, I defensive side wins, you reckon?
Maybe. For Mines, in my mind, the map is very dependent on so many little nuanced factors that have to do with the way both teams approach it.
Right.
And so I guess what I'm saying with that is North and South don't matter as much to me. It's what strats they bring, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So based off the way Elevate decides to come in here, because guess what? New changes to the game since we've last seen competitive play. The little bit we saw in the group stages has informed me a little bit, but come on, these guys have had to step back and say, okay, what do we need to change and improve to reapproach this?
Yeah. I wonder if for these two teams, right, if they're in sort of like a bit of a hole, right, is this the time where they take out those pocket strategies, or are they trying to save them for a little bit later down the track?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because you have to think, right, both of these two teams, I say fairly evenly matched. This could be very well their last match in the World of Tanks Grand Finals 2017. So it's kind of now or never.
Yeah, and sometimes it might not even be that back pocket strat. It might just be the strat they planned and then the strat that everyone knows, right?
Yeah.
Hey guys, scratch this, based off the way we're playing right now, this doesn't feel right. Let's do something else. Now, we can see jumps going up. You got Canadian Impact in the east side. Artillery, that's Fox CS, the M4043, against Wall Hacks in the M4043. We'll have to see if we see counter artillery or anything like that.
I'm sure we will.
I really love seeing it when artillery players intelligently kind of deconstruct what their opponent is doing and try and figure out how to destroy them that way. Because that's a lot of damage that's really meaningful on this. Artillery could be most of the damage this battle that counts.
On the topic of the artillery, when I see Fox TS in the artillery, I'm almost a little bit unhappy to see that because he's not a bad artillery player, but I think he gets so much work done in a TVP or a Grill 15 or a Bat Chat or something like that.
And a map like this, it would be perfect.
Right, so I'm not so sure. I mean, EL Gaming, they have been running the artillery quite a lot throughout the late stages of Season 2, and it has worked out relatively okay, but he's not the major impact artillery player that he always is.
Yeah, and let's actually take a moment to talk about the lineups. You've got Mouse, IS-4, 3 Bat Chats, the new Tier 10 and M4043 for Elevate. So decently mobile, not a huge amount of hit points. You got that TVP, 2 Bat Chats, 3 Mouse for the side of EL, giving them a nice hit point boost, but also taking a lot of the mobility they could have had. And because of that, you're seeing Elevate right now using their mobility to their advantage. They've sent 2 Bat Chats to the northeast. They've got one of their scouts up in the hills, just because that's what you do, right? There's no reason not to. The elevation, the control, the vision that you get by throwing something up on the east side is...
Is it Elevate going for a boost here? From the zero line?
Oh, they've already got it. They've already... Oh, you're talking about reverse the boost?
From the attacking side. I think they drove all the way around. I think they're going for a boost up the zero line. We'll have a look over there in a second.
No, they're going to pull out.
No, okay, so they do have a guy up on the boost already, but yeah, that was a little interesting for me. It looked like they were going for it.
That would be fun, actually. That would be the first time...
They weren't lit either.
Yeah, it's actually a great spot over there. Go to the northeast. If you spawn south side, if you can get control of the east all the way up to the north where those mountains are, that's a huge position. It's absolutely just devastating if you can get vision on that Charlie 4 corner, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That approach from the north side to the mine. But to kind of jump to another topic real quick, we've got the push to Mouse up the water side into the 2-cap. That's going to put the pressure on Elevate and set the timer. And
one other thing that I want to comment on here for Elevate is that we can see Wallhax has already taken a little bit of damage there. He's got a dead loader, a dead gunner there as well, and that's absolutely massive in your artillery.
And I doubt he actually brought the med kit, which we were talking about, that counter battery. That's Fox CS doing his job, but also look, he's taking damage as well. Yeah. So both players are playing the counter arty game.
I feel like this affects Elevate a little bit more though, because if they're going to try and rely on wall hacks at certain times to get resets, which in theory should actually be pretty easy given that EL Gaming's pushing on the 2 flag, it's going to be a little bit more of an issue because he's going to be reloading slower. He might not hit as many shots now. So I think that affects him a little bit more. But Elevate now, maybe taking things into their own hands. The Bat Chat's starting to push forward here. Nitz is going to take a shot.
This is a sloppy play right now from Elevate. This is not good for them. EL should be able to walk away with this. We've got 2 Bat Chats out in the open. They do not have the cover they need. They do not have the position they should have. And they're just taking fire unnecessarily. I do not agree with this play. This is Elevate. They're going to be kicking themselves for this because these Bat Chats don't really have the pen and the damage to take down Rattlesnake anyway.
10 seconds left on that cap timer. There is a reset actually coming out to a back up a little bit more, but Fox TS actually takes down Nitz. First tank going down there is an Elevate tank. And EL Gaming, they've done so much damage over to Elevate, particularly Rattlesnake. You could see how many free shots he was getting out in that Mouse. And let's be real, the Mouse actually has fairly decent DPM, so that's a very scary prospect here for Elevate. And, well, I think they're down in a very, very disadvantageous position.
Yeah,
to see them come back from this would be something of a miracle.
Yeah, and where they're going to have to come back is in the south. That external in the north is going to have to hold down and just take control. But 3 seconds left. No, it's a reset back up to 10, and it's going to keep counting down. We need 1 more reset. Wallhax is just about reloaded. He may be able to get it. We're going to have to hold for the timer. Oh, God, Emperor Brett will go down, and I believe wait for the timer up in the top center of the screen. There it is. That's it. That's EL taking their 2nd win of the series.
Yeah, EL Gaming looking very, very strong in that one. It didn't even look close, to be honest. Yeah. And it didn't even seem like EL Gaming was doing anything particularly amazing. I thought Elevate kind of just walked into them and said, hey, please shoot me.
I think, yeah, I agree. More of that was Elevate making a huge tactical mistake than it was EL necessarily doing something that completely trounced Elevate in that sense. Yeah. Elevate walked in the north with those 2 Bat Chats. Earlier on in the battle, they'd been doing a little work. I think that was too aggressive. I think that they should have stopped more towards the middle of the map, and you can see it in the post-game care.
Rattlesnake, 3k damage coming out again. Such an impactful player here for EL Gaming. I'm so impressed by him every time I see him play. Given how inexperienced he is on this lineup, he just seems to make it work. And Fox TS actually got a decent amount done there in the artillery as well. On the whole, though, not a hugely high damage game because of how quick that cap was coming out. Still, pretty good across the board there for EL Gaming. Not so great across the board there for Elevate. Wallhacks in his M4043 didn't get too much done, only 300 damage.
Yeah, I think the lesson learned here for Wallhacks is with the new meta and the new changes to the game, absolutely bring the medkit on your artillery piece, right? I don't see a reason not to. You bring medkit, repair kit,
food.
Exactly.
Like, if you get hit by, you're not going to take an extinguisher, are you? Surely, because if you get hit, generally speaking, you're going to die anyway. You don't need to get set on fire to die.
And also, you have perfect crew skills. So you've got firefighting. You've got also the additional peripheral crew skills there that assist with preventing fires and such. So yeah, if fire's going to happen, it probably isn't going to be the thing that kills you. What's going to probably kill you is the fact that you've lost too many crew members, and now you're in an ineffective tank. Wallhacks, had he had that med kit, could have changed the course of the battle. Because one reset could be all you need to get a kill that just cascades into the next.
Exactly, the snowball effect.
Exactly.
So, moving over to the defensive side is going to be EL Gaming, and that is actually their more favorable side. Now, they do often play a very, very similar setup on the defensive side where, well, they've kind of got two sort of default setups, I think. One is where they boost Hardliner, or they make Hardliner do the climb over on the eastern side of the map.
Yeah, zero line, yeah.
Right, yep. The other one is that they try and push around, they push some tanks up the mid, into the hill, and they try and push tanks around the back of the hill here as well. So, a bit of a pincer move.
Yeah, and let's take a sec. Actually, I like this camera shot we've got on the players from Elevate. So, when you take a look at them, look at the energy. Wallhacks is as an American, we call him a Yankee, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's from New York. He's a big, loud, energetic
out there guy.
Exactly. He is someone that you do not miss when he's in the room, right? He does not fall silent in a conversation. He's always there. And when you see him kind of calm, cool, and collected, there's two little things to watch for. Does he look like he's kind of gotten himself, kicked in the gut? Or is he just focused? Right now, I think it looks like he got kicked in the gut. I think right now the Elevate's reeling a little bit. Of course, they did what the American teams do, and they may have underestimated their opponent and their abilities, and that's come and bit them. We'll have to see what they're able to do with this. As opening scout runs, we've got Canadian Impact making his initial run on the mid.
Yep.
Doesn't quite watch it. Canadian,
There's a rock there.
Canadian's not watching where he's going. I think he was a little distracted, and well, clearly, right? Yeah. But from that, we'll have to see what Elevate's able to do. Nice spotting. As you'll notice, EL doesn't seem to have any return vision.
Nope.
And with that, that's a lot of intel to Elevate that EL does not have.
Yeah, and the strange thing here for EL Gaming is that this sort of a setup that they're running right now is not their standard setup. You can see there's no boost from Hardliner. They've got no control over the mid hill at all. And they're pushing around the side here actually with a Type 5 Heavy and a Mouse. So I'm sorry, but you're not going to be catching anyone off guard with those two tanks.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you're backing it up with a T110E4 and the new T100 as well from Black, who's just put himself out on the west side, which that's a typical position actually for a light tank or a scout, because you get vision, you can hide, you can actually escape, whereas medium and a lot of other heavy tanks just are stuck there forever. And there it is, it's working actually. Black is able to spot Dodoma on the west side. Looks like M1 getting spotted, external in the middle as well as Oxmathis getting spotted.
Yeah, a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy to talk about here.
But good vision, good intel for EL, so they're able to adjust their defensive positions in order to accommodate.
Those two heavy tanks have sort of wrapped back around the hill a little bit more towards the defensive side here, as opposed to starting to push down the 7 line. So they're playing a little bit safer now for EL Gaming. But what I really am focusing on right now, I've seen Fox TS, he's been off reload for probably the better part of 30 seconds, maybe even more. Still hasn't fired his shot, so it seems at the moment as though EL Gaming, they haven't got any good targets here for that artillery piece. Wallhacks, he just fired off one there. Didn't quite connect.
Wallhacks is actually playing to avoid counter-artillery right now. His positioning says to me that right now he knows that Fox TS is watching. He's waiting for that shot to go out, and he's going to counter, which is exactly why you probably brought that up. He's
Fox
waiting.
TS hasn't fired. He's been waiting.
Yeah, he's absolutely 100% focused on counter-artillery right now. If he changes his focus, he can just quickly zoom back down, like drag his mouse straight down and not lose a lot of reticle if he wants to fire external. So that would be a reasonable shot for him to take right now. And it does look like he went for it, just landed kind of short there.
Didn't quite manage to connect it, but yeah, Elevate here, they've used up almost 3 minutes, and they haven't really done all that much. They've got control of the hill, which is good. They've also got control of the zero line, but they're not in a position to actually use the boost here, because if they do that, they will get spotted, they will take some damage. So really what Elevate has to try and do at the moment, I think, is try and push these heavy tanks back from EL Gaming and try and get that map control over on the eastern side of the map.
Yeah, get someone up on the boost, I agree completely, and then wall hacks on the west side of the map. Here's the thing about this that I feel like kind of splits the focus of Elevate if they want to go for that east side. They're not going to be able to put damage onto tanks on the east side very easily with wall hacks in the northwest, unless, like you said, they push back those heavy tanks are down and around the horn of the hill, which is about Gulf 6, right? If they can do that, that works. But we also know that Black is in the west side of the map, as you can see right now. And knowing that there's a scout on that side of the map, Dodoma's not going to be able to leave to support. So there's a lot, I guess what the point is there's a number of reasons that it's tricky for Elevate to refocus or to kind of redeploy in order to get the control that they need to execute the way they want to. Right now, they're still trying to figure out how to crack this shell.
Yeah, and they haven't really been able to do anything. At the moment, EL Gaming haven't taken any damage, and Elevate have taken a sizable chunk. It's nothing too crazy. It's not anything to get worried about just yet, but if EL Gaming continues to trade like this, and it's not even really trading at this point, it's free damage, the job gets ever more difficult for Elevate.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the criticism for Elevate at this point should be that they're being a bit timid.
I agree.
But this could be me calling that out at exactly the moment when they decide to turn it around.
Yeah.
Because that's a bold push right there. Taking a mouse over the middle of mines like this is usually something you would do if you had a huge advantage and you were ready to just kind of call it right there. Look at this as well. Dodoma taking on Black on the west side of the map. If he's able to take out that light tank, that's going to be good for Elevate. That's going to open up the west side. That's going to mean that they can, instead of going for the east, head off to the west. They'll have a better time dealing damage over there. And
Black's in trouble here. He's down to 567 damage, or health even, and he needs to be a little bit more careful than he is at the moment, surviving on 7 HP. He did get hit by the artillery there, so maybe a little bit of a favorable splash there, I guess, for Black, considering he survives.
He's booking it north, too. He's going to try to get out. And
not going to work.
Oh, he could have gotten through and spotted wall hacks, even gotten the kill right there. That would have been huge for EL. That would have probably guaranteed the win at that point, just throwing Elevate off the game like that. And look at this damage. Nice.
This is actually looking really, really good right now for Elevate. Nice is in a horrible position, taking so much damage. He gets absolutely wrecked there by Elevate. So what was looking like a very, very good setup for EL Gaming, where they had a massive health advantage, all of a sudden has swung straight back in the favor of Elevate. They've got 2 tanks advantage. They now have, well, actually, they don't have the health advantage, but it's very close.
Yeah, this has every reason to go to Elevate if they don't just slow down too much. I think if they keep the pressure up, because notice this, when they were playing slow, when they were playing kind of timid, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
They were taking the damage. The second they turn that around, what happens?
Exactly. They just push in, and honestly, I thought that push was not going to work, but somehow Elevate find a way to make it, and now EL Gaming really in a spot of bother. Fox TS in his M4043. He's going to be key really here. He needs to be getting some big damaging shots off and really putting some pressure back on Elevate.
He just fired, though, just as you were saying that, onto Nitz, and it did not connect. So right there, it stuns him a little bit, but it doesn't do enough.
And one's probably dead here as well.
Yeah, he should be going down in a moment.
One more shot for Dodoma is all he needs.
Dodoma should have this.
Oh, Canadian Impact's going to get it up from the hill.
Yeah, east side. So that's a beautiful crossfire. That's why you want to put a tank up on the zero line. With that, combined with that bat shot on the west side, there are very few tanks that are going to stay safe for very long. And also, look at this. God Emperor Brett. He's going to have to watch out and not take a shell from Fox TS when he's finally reloaded. But as the TVP is rather susceptible to artillery damage.
Yeah.
But he can keep spotting those heavy tanks, that mouse from Rattlesnake below the hill. And with that, we can see Crossfire come in, we can see artillery start to whittle him down, and this is looking like kind of a matter of time game. But with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, Elevate can't wait too long.
I think they've got enough time, surely. Yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, an E4, yeah, it's going to bounce some shells, but it's not a mouse, and even the mouse here of Rattlesnake is getting very, very low on HP. He's a one-shot, and Fox TS is not going to be, he's basically irrelevant right now in that artillery piece. There's nothing that he's going to be able to do that's going to be able to bring EL Gaming back into this one, unless he gets some sick shot onto someone, but yeah, that's wishful thinking at this point, I think.
It's like when you see that technically the damage could be dealt to get the kills, but you know that reasonably you could never expect either team to really achieve that. or to make those shots count.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and now looking at this, Quiet's going to look towards the hill, blind fire, see if anything shows up from that. Nope. And from here, we've got Quiet spotted now. Tanks moving in, and this is just, you know, by the book, how you clean it up.
Pretty straightforward here for Elevate.
Yep, and that'll actually, this kind of starting to see a pattern back and forth between these teams.
Well, we did say that we thought that it was going to be fairly close, and so far it definitely has been close. I got to say, maybe it's a little bit of the APAC bias coming into play here, but I think EL Gaming is putting themselves in better positions than Elevate is, but they're not being able to convert them into the round wins.
I can agree with that. Maybe not 100%, but I can get on board with the idea there.
Okay.
Yeah, they're definitely positioning very well, and and by contrast, I have criticism for Elevate's less than I'd say I have a ton of pros for EL.
Right.
It's like EL's doing things right.
Yeah.
They're not doing things. They're not showing me anything that's
amazing.
outside of what you would expect, which isn't bad. That's not a bad thing. It's hard to make that. It's hard to say doing what you're supposed to do or what's expected or what's normal is somehow mediocre or less than exceptional. But they're doing what they need to do. And on Elevate's side, I think you're hitting on the point of the criticism of positioning.
Yeah. Is that enough, though, for EL here to be doing what they need to do, right? Is that enough for them to actually be able to take down Elevate right now, or do they need to go above and beyond? Because I honestly think they do need to go above and beyond. The Elevate that we saw in Season 2, the EL that we saw in Season 2 against Team Efficiency, where they went down 5-4 a couple of times, they got victories 5-4 over Meltdown and Horseman, who are teams that, realistically speaking, shouldn't even be on the level of EL Gaming. If they play like that, if they do just the same as, if they just play like they should, I don't think that's going to be enough against a team like Elevate. I think they need to lift.
Okay, I agree with that in the sense that here on this stage, above and beyond, you always have to be, right? And against Elevate, a team that is full of all-star players, people that you, in a 1v1, don't let your players get in a 1v1 with these guys because they'll probably win. They know how to do this. But what you kind of touched on before, and actually is fundamentals. EL's fundamentals are solid.
Yeah.
Their positioning's good. Their strategies are solid. They're not doing anything crazy. They're putting the players in the right tanks. They're doing it right. There's no huge criticism around that. If you stick to your fundamentals in World of Tanks, focus fire, team play, all of those little basic things that you learn when you get into clan wars or you start platooning up, those are the things EL is hitting on better than Elevate at this moment. And that can win them this entire match.
Yeah, nothing too surprising coming out here on the post-battle stats, really. You get the TVPs, the bat chats up towards the top of the damage charts. A couple of the EL players down the bottom here. Clearly that game didn't go too well for them, but moving on to the next map, which is Ghost Town, and I think this is actually EL Gaming's pick, which I don't necessarily agree with, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of EL Gaming on Ghost Town. They have struggled on it in the past. Yeah,
I give this match, or this map, to Elevate. I think Elevate's going to play a lot better on this one. They've never really struggled too hard with it. I felt like they have solid strats. This should be Elevate taking a win here. They have had some teams show up and really kind of give them a nice knock in the face here or there, just to kind of wake them up and remind them that Ghost Town's a map to take seriously. But this, I think EL's going to struggle here. Maybe they can pick this one up later on in the series.
Potentially a 1-1, I think, could come out here from EL, but I'm not saying that they're going to get a 2-0.
Yeah, but look at this. Opening moves. Canadian Impact in the bat chat moves out for a scout run, and that's...
He spots the entire team.
Yeah, 4 tanks are up. Elevate knows what's going on. They can reposition.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm a fan of this here for EL Gaming. It looks like they're just walking into the trap that Elevate has set for them.
Now, here's the thing with this. They can decide to keep going forward, and if they focus fire and sink the shells quickly enough, take down Canadian, move on, and get the kills, they can win in a way. But it's so conditional, it's so variable in the way that can work out in favor of EL. EL's going to need to move north. Try and leave Canadian behind, hope Wallhacks can't get there in time, and pick up a kill from one player that gets a little bit aggressive. But look at the damage. Right now, Hardliner's taking about half, M1 in that WZ-111, and Black. Black is at half right now, and he's pinned out in the open. His track is done. He's in a rough spot.
I've really got to question what the thought process behind that was for EL Gaming, because they essentially just walked into a crossfire setup from Elevate, said, hey, here's some free damage. All right, now we can play with a 2,000 less HP and a free tank over to Elevate.
But they're able to flex off this. I'll give them some credit. EL gets into the high ground, takes the middle of the map, and that's something that Elevate wasn't expecting.
They need to kill Oxmathers here. Fox TS needs to come up big in that 50B, but Ox Mathis, he's almost off the reload, and this could be disastrous for EL Gaming. Unfortunately for him, though, doesn't really connect too well onto Fox TS. A bit of damage, but nothing amazing.
But that was good. That was what, you're right. EL needed to do that. And yes, they've taken a lot of damage, but they have the high ground. They have a solid position. They can make this work. They need to get Canadian Impact out, but he's dealing a ton of free damage right now. And if he's able to just stay healthy, keep distracting members of Elevate, this is great. And members of EL, he'll be able to do just fine. Nicely done. Now Canadian's just going to slip out behind, hopefully not take too much, and that's going to be Elevate coming back in for a cleanup kill later on. Now, EL, if they can't find a kill, one more somewhere, just get one tank exposed, this is over.
It is, yeah. It's almost looking over already, really, for EL Gaming. That was kind of the dream scenario there for a bad chat. Canadian Impact, he gets behind some tanks, he gets to the side of some tanks, he says, all right, I've got my damage out, I'm going to slip away. He takes one shot or two shots of damage. Very, very favorable trade for him, and as a result, you can see the position that EL Gaming is in right now is absolutely horrible. They've got barely any map control. They don't have any means to get any map control because they don't have anyone that can really push in there. Even both of the Mouses that they've got, 1,600, 1,800 health, that's not enough.
Yeah, it's maybe if you can make a long distance fight, it's manageable, but at these ranges, it's not going to last more than maybe a minute or two. And there, quiets down in the 50B. That's Canadian Impact in the bat chat again. And there we go. We're going to see Elevate probably walk away with this one. Just give them about 2 minutes, and they should be able to get all the cleanup. Now, I'll give it to EL. Even when they're down, I'm noticing solid moves. I'm noticing the kind of moves that aren't throwing in the towel, right?
Yeah.
They haven't given up on calling or trying to coordinate or trying to play to win. No matter what, even when they're down like this, they still repositioned. They gave a little ground. They said, okay, reposition, let's find a better spot, something we can defend. Yes, they're down guns. Yes, they don't have the hit points. Yes, they're probably going to lose. But I gotta respect when I see the strat still coming out, when I see the focus, when I see the energy. And so that says a lot about the morale of EL, because even with your skepticism about how they'll perform on Ghost Town, if they're able to hold themselves together, that's something to watch for when the series goes long. Because this will go probably all 13.
Will go long.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it really comes down to this, I think, here on Ghost Town. If Elevate goes up 4-2, that is starting to become a sort of a significant chunk there that EL Gaming is going to have to try and pull back. And, you know, maybe then the next one goes 1-1, 5-3. Things are starting to look a little bit dangerous there for EL Gaming. So this next round, I think, is actually quite crucial.
I think so. So after we get through this map, we'll have to see how the next maps line up and how we feel about the teams when we get there. But before we get there, yes, Ghost Town could be where Elevate, you know, kind of breaks a little lead. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's won.
No.
Because it's a long series, right? You've got maybe Ghost Town's the bad map for EL here, but maybe they're a little bit better next map. Or maybe it's a little later in the series. Because sometimes when you're picking and banning maps, you decide, I want to position one of my weaker maps that I'm going to have to pick in the middle of the series, right? Because you can think about the advantages of when and where you'd want to have that happen. You don't want to start down 2 in a demoralizing loss on your worst map. Let's save that for later.
Well, have a look at that. The top damage charts, 5 out of the 7 are going to be Elevate players. And no surprise, considering how that map did turn out. Mouse up the top. Amex 30 actually up very, very high there for Nitz. So that's quite impressive.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I thought he was a little bit far from most of the shots or angles I thought he would have had. But clearly he was able to find a way of staying relevant throughout the fight. Oh, it must have been when I did not realize. I thought EL, when they took the middle of the map, had actually made a very strong play. And now I'm realizing, I think
they walked into his.
That was one of the few angles he actually has brilliant shots there. And so I have to kind of pull back on my words there and actually say I'd forgotten about it.
It did look a bit like a train wreck, I'm going to be honest, for EL Gaming. It just didn't seem like they were making the correct decisions.
Off the opening move, it was one of those, the opening strategy was just bad for you.
Didn't work,
EL chose a strategy that walked straight into what Elevate chose. And so Elevate doesn't, it's credit to Elevate for picking the right strat, but ultimately they had the advantage just on rolling out. And so with that, that's something that's hard to come back from.
It is. But EL Gaming going to be moving over to the defense side this time. Elevate will be the one that may potentially be walking into some sort of a setup. But who knows? We'll have to find out how this one does turn out. Certainly was impressed by how that worked out very, very well for Elevate there, and not so impressed for EL Gaming here. So I think it's going to be a pretty important one here in round number 6. Like we've said, if this goes out to 4-2, Elevate's in a good position to start trying to, or start thinking about closing out this series. But if it's back to 3-3, square one.
Exactly. Now looking at the lineups from both teams, on the red side, Elevate is going to have 2 Mouse, 113, T57, Batchat, and 2 WZ-111s. On the blue side for EL Gaming, we're going to have 2 Mouse, 113, a 50B, as opposed to the 57 from Elevate. Another 50B to follow that up instead of a Batchat.
Right.
And then WZ-111, and then a Batchat 25 TAP.
A very, very mobile lineup coming out here for EL Gaming. Double 50B. When you see this sort of comparison between a 50B and a T57 Heavy, you think the T57 Heavy is going to sit itself in one spot, be a damage threat in one position, but the 50B is going to be a little bit more mobile, and EL Gaming, they're trying to take some early map control here up towards the northern part of the map, but I'm afraid, again, that they're going to walk into some sort of a setup that Elevate has ready for them.
Yeah, and Elevate's got a solid position to deal with this attack. They've got their Batchat moving up the 0 line, they've got Oxmathis to watch one of the lanes, they've got him with a battle buddy, and now Canadian's going to have to be careful. He can't overexpose and take
Oh, here comes Black. Have a look at this. He's just coming in for a big, quick run. Not sure if he's going to come around the corner, but he's going to stop, which is a good idea.
Yeah, I was a little scared. Don't go around that corner. That's a great way to just get deleted off the battlefield. Now, looking at the damage right now, we've got 11K versus 12K for Elevate is neck and neck.
50B's on reload.
Ah, good note right there. And that's going to be something to pay attention to. If Elevate recognizes that the 50Bs are on reload, they may choose to push up a little bit, take some risks, and knowing that if they can get that 50B kill, that'll make a lot of potential damage off the battlefield.
Hardline is taking some average trades here at the moment, but he does get a free shot in there, so that's a little bit better for EL Gaming. And the 50B is now coming back off the reload. Fox TS and Quiet starting to try and push around the corner here and do some damage to Elevate.
And look at this, if Elevate's able to recover from this attack, they are. They're actually able to pull back all 3 of those tanks around the corner. Yes, Hardlander's going to go down in the 113. Damage is going to come in every which way, but there, Black. Now Quiet, double kill from Canadian Impact.
Yeah, that's not good at all for EL Gaming. I think this one's done and dusted pretty much. Elevate should be able to wrap this up now. Dodoma taking down a nice, only 3 tanks left on the field here for EL Gaming. And what did I say about Ghost Town? Not a fan.
Yeah, it's solid play. I liked what I was seeing. It was well coordinated if you were looking at it, what EL was doing in a vacuum, but when you put it against what Elevate's able to do, their intelligence, their ability to react, they knew what to do. They knew what the proper play was, and they did it. It was nice to see. I liked seeing the frontline heavy tanks back off, support fire come in, and you just kind of see how they just sucked EL further and further out of a safe position.
Not a single tank lost there either for Elevate in that one.
So that's an ace.
7 tanks alive for Elevate. They're going to put themselves at 4-2 advantage over EL Gaming, and it looked like EL Gaming was going to be going toe-to-toe with Elevate over the first 2 maps, but now all of a sudden we find ourselves with Elevate at an advantage. But that's going to be our halfway point here. We'll send it over to the analysis desk to wrap things up.
Interesting couple of starting rounds there from Elevate and EL Gaming. What I happened to notice myself is it seems pretty much business as usual from both teams. Nothing special, nothing unusual to start with.
I agree, except for that first round, the first round on mines from Elevate. Lost for words, really. The rotate through the north just didn't make much sense. They knew EL Gaming had all those heavy tanks. They pushed straight into them without EL Gaming really asking any questions. There wasn't much cap pressure at that point in time, and they just pushed in. And the approach they took, the routing they took, it just really didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, slow paced at the start. Himmelsdorf 1-1, and then we went into mines as well. Mojo, that was another 1-1 map.
Yeah, I mean, we already switched a bit there to the mines there, but never mind. Himmelsdorf was also really interesting to me because EL Gaming made a trap in one moment. They set an artillery in one corner. Now, what people don't know, since the use of the patch, the splash of art is a bit increased, so you can actually dominate the upper city caps as defender. You can shoot from certain angles, and that makes teams really hard to attack that area. So EL Gaming tried to do a mind trick, sent really few tanks on a rail, mainly to spot and have a crossfire toward the hill, send a couple of the guys up and try to surprise Elevate. They pretty much did it, but they took too much damage, and Elevate did respond well. They attacked immediately. They lost some tanks, but they preserved most of their HP, and in the trade-off, after that, they really did well and managed to win the round and equal the score. Then we went to mines, and as James was saying, there was some really awkward decisions by Elevate in defense, because EL Gaming was waiting to attack the water side on 1-2 line, set up all the shooting there, but they had a really lot of heavy tanks, Mouses. So Elevate should have been aware of that.
It kind of felt like Elevate was trying to read what L was doing, like they were trying to predict what they were doing, but they didn't know for sure, and they kind of made that blind rotate through the north, and then they just kind of got surprised when there was tanks there.
I mean, we literally saw Nitz in the middle of the field, breaking in front of a Mouse, shooting him. It's like, what are you doing
in
here?
a back shot, nonetheless.
They also
and
don't
there we
have
go. This is the Himmelsdorf moment when Elevate managed already to do a counter push. They already lost 2 tanks, but as you can see, HP-wise, they're far, far ahead, and they managed to take even that arty on the railroad.
Yeah, definitely, and I do like this play out of Elevate, the second round on Himmelsdorf. We'll try to break that down in a little bit, but overall, I thought it was a really ingenious bait and switch from Elevate, and they really controlled L Gaming and forced them where they wanted them, and they were able to just pick them off one by one from this point on. And overall, it was just great stuff from Elevate.
EL Gaming taking artillery here on the defense. This is something Daki highlighted in the group stages. Is you can do the cap reset, but you feel it's still, I mean, I think it's still a risk personally taking artillery because it takes a gun out of the game essentially.
Yeah, definitely. And on Himmelsdorf, we saw during the season finals from North America, we saw Dare Rising bring the S14-2, the school bus. And they made it work, but they made it work in terms of it got a lot of damage, but the team had to play so passive to protect it while they were attacking that they really couldn't establish any map control, and they didn't get anywhere, and they ended up losing the round. Now, while on defense, I struggle to kind of see the angles that you really want to go for with that M43, because I don't know that it can really have clean shots on that north cap.
Clean shots are not needed. Splash is only needed to decap, and then you don't need to apply any pressure. You just need to wait for other team who is forced then to attack you.
Right.
That's all you need as an arty. The arty doesn't need to do damage in that role.
Well, but you had that's still a arty to get the resets is not something I necessarily am a big fan of, just because you're relying on one shot every 40 seconds to come in and get that reset.
Now this is something that I thought was amazing, that the casters didn't actually pick up the time because it happened so quickly. If you look at artillery right now, they hit each other at the exact same time and they didn't know they hit each other.
It's an interesting trivia how they managed to splash each other. One of them actually got the driver dead, one got gunner and loader, like no less. Like definitely Volhex didn't do well in that trade. But the key thing is what we were talking before here. Elevate was really confused with EL Gaming's play, but this is not something we've seen first time. This kind of tactics being used, especially on EU, more than once, if you remember Utopia games. And I don't know what were they surprised with. Like the rotation with Butchots they're doing from upper side now, you can see it. It's completely wrong and badly done. Look at you, they're spotted so early, they're taking so much damage. There is no way to come in the game after this.
Well, and look at it, they're getting the resets they need from the south. They don't need to make this push across the north. They're under no pressure. They're consistently getting those resets. So deciding to push across the north here, especially through this open field, just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
One guy cannot be resetted from the south side, and especially since the artillery is positioned in the corner and not on K4, because that's the only position you can actually shoot it from. So that wouldn't work for a while. They knew it. They knew they had to do something about it, but this was definitely the worst possible answer.
Now before the arty changes, I know that wasn't able to be hit, but with the increase in splash, is it possible to get a shell close enough from that right side to splash and get the reset?
The question is, what is Volhex able to hit with the dead loader and gunner?
That is also true. That is also true.
Yep. I mean, Elevate were throwing everything at EL Gaming here to try and get the resets, but the defensive line EL Gaming had set up was pretty much picture perfect for defending what they were trying to do here with the cap, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I like how they didn't commit anything further into the south. They played strong along that 4 line. They used the boost with the TVP to get the tanks up on top, and then the Mouses in the low ground and in the backfield. And they did a pretty decent job at screening it. The only thing I wasn't a big fan of that round was how they were kind of positioned in the backfield, but they ended up being able to rotate back quickly enough to punish those bad chats, which I guess is the intent of the strat overall.
I think the EL Gaming from the start, when they realized how is Elevate positioned, using their heavier setup and knowing how light and little armored Butchots are, they just lured them in the trap.
Baiting the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an interesting exchange between these two teams because EL Gaming took the leads. They took that first round on Himmelsdorf. That ended up being finishing 1-1. Then here on Mines ended up finishing 2-2 with Elevate coming right back into this round, weren't they, Mojo?
This was a really confusing round, I would say, because at the start it looked like Elevate is actually losing it by bad positioning and mistimed positions. But EL Gaming played really passive here, and they allowed themselves to get surrounded by faster tanks, light from the hill and the medium from the water that no one shot, and they got in crossfire and they got annihilated.
Yep. Well, one thing that happened here, especially with External pushing up across in the middle, they did what we call paying the toll early on. They traded a lot of HP for position, and once they had the positioning, you see how Elevate's able to get into different cracks and pick one tank off after another. The Type 5 goes down, the T100 over on the one line goes down, gets picked off, and so they're able to isolate, get one tank at a time, and that's what happens when you have a very passive defense that kind of sits in one place. And
yes, but
that was great from Elevate.
The main problem is because EL Gaming didn't cover their bases. There was a light tank in water spotting the possible rotation from a Butcher, and there was not a single guy from his team who was actually covering that were supposed to shoot it. They were so focusing on Mouses. Mouses have nowhere to go. They're 20 kilometers per hour. You can shoot them anytime, but it's really obvious. Butcher has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, but that's the intent of pushing the Mouse through the middle, is to
But that's what I said. That was their basic mistake. No one saved the shells.
Yeah, exactly. They drove a wedge through the defense of L, and then from that point on, they were able to break them apart, and it was that Mouse getting to that position, regardless, that really opened that round for Elevate.
That was External and that Mouse making that push here. And then we came into Ghost Town. Now, immediately coming up with Ghost Town, Elfish guy was saying he's not looking, he's not expecting a lot here from EL Gaming there. They don't have a good record in Ghost Town. They tend to favour more open maps, and boy, did it go that way.
This is something that we've seen even teams when you make mistake, like Kazna, remember in the start of the season, trying to YOLO through the middle. It doesn't work like that. This was too aggressive. This is not something you can do. The Elevate, only thing they did here, they just displaced their tanks, created a cover fire, and EL Gaming more or less suicided and wasted so much HP.
Yeah, it was. The trades just were really not at all in EL Gaming's favour. Now, Elevate, is this a map that they're known for here, Rockstar?
Elevate definitely favor the more city maps, the rotational maps. Ruinberg, Himmelsdorf, and Ghost Town are maps that they've played really well on this whole season. And Ghost Town in particular, especially since the changes to the Mouse, has become one of their favorite maps that they really seem to understand, and they showed it right here.
I would say there's the third map by quality with 84% win rate, while this is the worst map for EL Gaming with 47. So yeah, that's quite a disparity there.
This is the one we always like to cast, Mojo, because it always can, there's a lot of precision tactics, a lot of precision shooting.
You know there will be a brawl, there is no waiting, you must fight.
There's no holding back. And that was interesting because that was EL Gaming on that round on the attack. When EL Gaming were then on the defense, it was done and dusted in less than 3 minutes. Yep. They lost the brawl quite handily, didn't they?
A very decisive push up the 7-8 line. And it worked out just so great for them. They baited them in, then they pulled their heavy tanks back, and the tanks out wide were able to really punish L.
Okay, now we're ready to get back into the action. Let's go back over to Elfish and Rukil.
Thank you, Ryan, mate. It's not looking good for EL at the moment.
Oh, and yeah, we got to see some of the players from Elevate walk on by when they went to their for the little break we just saw, and they're in good spirits.
They are.
Dodo looks like he was happy. Canadian looks like he's happy. I don't see any reason for Elevate to feel like they don't have momentum going into Muralonga.
Absolutely not. Prokhorovka going to be coming out as our next map here. Well, no, perhaps not.
It's Muralonga.
Muralonga.
Yeah, sorry. It's easy. Yeah, we just mix it up a few times here.
I get confused every now and then. But Muralonga.
Magical Forest.
It's not a map that we actually see all that much in APAC.
Yeah, and it's also been a less popular map overall. A lot of teams kind of just have a bit of a stigma towards it or something. And so, or rather, maybe they favor something else. I think it's because of how tricky the map can be as an attacker.
Yeah.
It's just a hard map to attack on because it's very much a coin flip. If you go north, decide to attack on the west side, and you might just flop. Your opponent's ready for you, everything goes straight to things and stuff very quickly.
Right,
you get me, right? And then east side, you could spend the entire battle trying to do what you need to do in order to win on the east, and it just never works for you. Like, that's the way it is. It's a difficult map to guarantee any kind of success. It's tricky. It's a great place to stall a series out, kind of ice your opponent a little bit, kind of cool them off a little bit. This could be good for EL in that sense.
It is actually not a terrible map for EL, but in saying that, they've been going up against APAC teams on Muralonga who I wouldn't necessarily rate very, very highly on Muralonga. So they do have a 100% win rate on the map after a lot of games played, but does that necessarily mean that they're actually going to be a good team on Muralonga?
That's the question. Now, Elevate, one of our top teams from North America, has a solid set of strats to use for Muralonga. So what will be the opening moves. Let's look at the lineups. We've got a Mouse for Ox Mathis. So good hit pool, something that we can use as an anchor. On the other side, you've got that mobile lineup from EL, Mouse. Actually, sorry, I may be a little bit too mobile.
It's reasonably mobile.
Well, you got the Bat Chat and the 2 Bat APs. Solid choices, mobility, scouting, and honestly, the damage, I'm okay with it.
I'm a fan of the AP.
Like, yeah, when I play the AP, I know I'm not a major damage dealer. I know I can't go out there and expect myself to take down heavy tanks quite the same way another 210 would, but I can be effective assisting.
Yeah, definitely. But a bit of an exchange of fire here. EL Gaming taking one shot, Elevate taking one shot as well. But it does look like EL Gaming have managed to make their way onto the cap here. Fox TS has got control of the forest as well, which is quite important here actually, because that is one of the avenues that Elevate could go to get some resets easily here onto EL Gaming, but they will have to challenge Fox for that.
Yep, that's going to be something to watch out for. You're going to see Elevate tanks start to back off of that cap in the west. They'll move south, they'll move east, and they'll move north along the 7-8 line, just out of view of those tanks that are pressuring the cap on the west side from EL, right? So they're going to go for a, kind of a, as you might call some of the heavy tanks flanking, they're going for what's called a contra flank. Now, Fox TS, as you mentioned earlier,
this is...
the timing on this is rough, because now he's spotted, External knows he's there, Dodoma is going to move on in, it's going to be a 2v1, and where he was very useful a moment ago...
He's dead. There's nothing he can do here. He's 100% dead. He gets a little bit of damage out, but I think he got max 3 shots. EL Gaming have to make a response here. They have to try and push, force the overmatch over on here, the 1 flag, and see what they can get done. But if they don't get a kill here onto at least one of those Elevate players, it's all going to be going up in the air. And Elevate, I'm sorry, but I think this is looking pretty good. Yeah. EL Gaming do trade 1 tank back, though, and there's actually a couple of tanks going down.
It's just Wallhacks in the HWK. Nice, and the Bat Chat AP goes down. So now you've got both APs down for EL versus a Bat Chat and a light tank from Elevate. Kind of evens out, but look at Nitz in the IS-4. Well, he's completely overmatched right now. He doesn't stand a chance, and he's dead.
EL Gaming have actually done very, very well with this, because they pushed in at the exact time that all of those Bat Chats were on the reload. External only just coming off the reload very, very shortly now. Hasn't had any impact on that fight. A couple of the other tanks didn't have maximum impact on it either. And EL Gaming have actually turned this around and put themselves back in a favorable position off the back of losing Fox TS.
Yeah, and they've got 2 Mouse Live, 2 113s, and a Bat Chat. Here's the game we're about to see unfold.
Bat Chats. Cat and mouse.
Yep. It's lighter, more mobile Elevate lineup with 3 bats and a mouse. Versus the heavier, aggressive lineup from EL. So they're going to want to keep putting the pressure on, right? They're going to want to go after Ox Mathis here, because they know the Bat Chats don't have the damage to take out everything on this battlefield. They need to string this out and take longer.
This is where it could swing back in the favor of Elevate, though, because the Bat Chats can outplay the heavy tanks, and that's at the moment what it seems like is happening. EL Gaming have just lost a tank. They've lost a lot of HP here. Ox Mathis is going to get another one onto Rattlesnake there, and it's now 3 versus 4. EL Gaming have just thrown away that advantage that they had, and now they're going to have to try and claw it back when these Bat Chats are on the reload.
And it's that burst. That's what you're looking for. Bat Chats are good for burst. Very brief engagements, but look at this. They're all in reload. Dodoma can't deal any damage. He's going to probably go down. Quiet doesn't have to worry about holding back at all. There, Dodo's dead.
But does Quiet reload here now? He's only got 2 shells left in the clip. Does he have time, or is it better that he takes these 2 shells and tries to use them onto these remaining EL Gaming tanks? Looks like he's going to go for a reload here. I think he did actually in the end fire off those remaining 2 shots, and EL Gaming, they just have to survive as long as possible now against Canadian Impact. Yeah. That's the key. If they lose players now while Quiet's on the reload, then it's game over. But if EL Gaming can survive long enough for Quiet to get that reload off, it might just be enough.
And External knows he was going to go down. He knows he can't escape. He's just got to sit in the spot. Yes, and that's what we're going to see. The spotting. Canadian gets aggressive, though. He's out in the open, exposed to all 3 tanks of EL. If he does not play this right, he will go down. He will waste this, what could be a very close win for Elevate, and it may go to... Yes, it will. EL's going to take it there. They're going to get the last kill on Canadian. Canadian getting too aggressive, exposing himself when he shouldn't have. He could have clutched it, and it's going to be an EL win here.
Well, that was a very, very close round. That really could have gone either way.
Absolutely could have, and I have to give it to EL. They played well. I think Elevate, again, just like we were saying in some of the previous
initial setups.
Yeah, it's Elevate's kind of making mistakes or leaving windows or
exactly
where EL is actually doing I think a pretty good job of keeping things together, at least on the fundamental side.
Yeah, that was just a pretty good reaction really from EL Gaming. They played that one. They lost Fox TS, which is not great for them, but they were able to react to it. They took out a couple of quick tanks very, very quickly. Honestly, I thought that from losing Fox TS, Elevate was going to be able to snowball it very, very quickly, but EL recognized the Bat Chat's on reload. We go now, take the overmatch, and basically win it out from there.
Yeah, I was feeling a lot of the same of what you were right there, which was that it seemed like EL had kind of dropped it for a moment.
Yeah.
But we always kind of, I think we underestimated how that burst was going to hurt Elevate's ability to keep dealing damage. Their burst was where a lot of that turned out to come from.
Yep.
And without that, that's where EL started to kind of bring themselves back into it. And you notice that the mediums, the Bat Chats, were out of position. They were a little far from the fight. Yes, they got one tank out on a flank, but it turned out to actually work out for EL.
Yeah.
More of a distraction than anything else. Kind of sacrificial, but I mean, whatever gets the job done.
Yeah, I guess that's all you need, really. If you get that final tank kill, you've got one tank left, then you win. It doesn't matter how you got there, no matter how close it is.
But then, end of the day, it should have been elevated in that battle. They should have been able to walk away with the win in there. They had the mobility, they had the ability to control it, to dictate the pace with 6 minutes in the battle. And they were too eager, which this is something that happens when you're when you're a confident team, you're winning in the series, and you come off of a short break where you feel good. Maybe you're too motivated. You think you get a little
overhyped.
Overhyped. That's a good way to put it. You get in your own head.
The brush of blood.
Ah, yes. And then, well, now we switch sides.
Yeah.
And
what's your opinion here on Moravanka? Do you think this favors the defensive side or the attacking side? Because I'm of the opinion that the defensive side is a little bit easier to play on Moravanka.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love defensive side on this. It's very easy to control. You can play a whack-a-mole game, or rather, it's more like a game of Battleship on the south, where you can stick passive scouts to kind of just sit there, and your opponent has to try and figure that out. If they don't, they're going to die. And as an attacker, it's very challenging because scouting is just so tricky.
Yeah, and this is a setup that I've seen before from EL Gaming with the Kranvagn with the STRV. Obviously, we'll see the Kranvagn just patrolling over towards the top flag there, over the one flag, trying to get resets if need be. Fox TS in the STRV, though, he is a massive threat. He's a very, very good tank destroyer player, very, very strong in the STRV, but Elevate have played this one well. They've got very, very quickly onto that one flag. EL Gaming has a bit of a slower lineup here, so they're going to take some damage here getting in there, and they're going to have to very, very quickly try and get some resets.
Yeah, and this is curious for me, because you don't usually see medium tanks jump onto the cap very quickly. You see 50 Bs, you see Mice, stuff like that, and there's, it's working out. They caught a tank moving out to the west. You always want to deal with that because that's the tank that's going to get resets. He's going to be just a nuisance the entire time, and then you're going to find yourself pinched between tanks from EL moving in from the east and then that guy in the west. Without the guy in the west,
5 seconds on that cap timer. Someone needs to push over here. It has to be quiet in the Kranvagn. He should get the reset here, and he does. A couple of resets, in fact, coming in for EL Gaming. But look at that damage. EL Gaming getting absolutely smashed here, and something needs to change for EL. They need to turn this around very, very quickly. Otherwise, they're going to be straight back to the garage.
Yeah, it's going to be something from the south here. They need to start getting that control back. They know their opponent doesn't have too much west side, so they could possibly put a mouse right up on the corner, proxy spot their opponent. And yes, we see that medium. That's hardliner.
5 seconds here on that cap timer again. Now 3. The reset does come across again.
There we go.
So EL are not having trouble getting the resets, but I'm just not sure it's going to be enough here because they're taking very, very poor trades.
They are. They definitely had to take some negative trades for that one. And look, Fox TS taking a lot of damage in that STRV. We know he's dangerous, but when you start taking flank fire in the S-tanks,
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do. You can't exactly leave instantly. You've got to leave your siege mode and then book it out of there, which all of a sudden now you've lost 10, 15 seconds of potential damage that would have been amazing for your team.
So Elevate have come off the cap now. They've basically got what they wanted off that. They got a lot of damage. They got a kill. They're in a favorable position. Now they can just play it out as they would, take the brawls, take the fights, and win.
Look at this. I love the way M1's coming around. This is actually fairly effective because Mouse versus Bat Chat AP, another Mouse that's not really paying attention, and then the IS-7. That's good. That's something that he can play with.
This might actually be a bit of a swing back in the favor of EL Gaming.
Yeah.
The Kranvagn pushing over there, getting some damage as well. So they've closed the gap a little bit. It's still favorable for Elevate, though.
But look at this. Nits and Dodoma. There's a little strike force coming in onto Hardliner. They're going to try and chase him down. He's a relatively healthy Batchat and is actually at a decent range to be able to escape, which is actually going to pull those two medium tanks farther and farther south, which we'll have to see how the tanks on the west side from EL react and how they'll play off of this.
Yeah, I don't see Hardliner getting out of this one alive. Surely not. Not a very good roll there, 297. Oh, that's from about AP, so maybe not too bad, actually.
Makes sense.
But even so, he's in a horrible position right now. He will come off the reload, but I don't think he's even going to get one shot off here. Maybe he gets one.
Think about
best case scenario.
If Nits actually goes up this little incline, he just goes up right now, he actually is exposed to fire from the west. So if tanks are watching, might take support. There's the support fire we were looking for.
Imagine if that shot hadn't bounced off Nits, though. That would have been a kill there for EL Gaming, and maybe something to play with. Still, though, Elevate doing a really, really good job of controlling the map at the moment. Nice is actually all the way up on the A line. Could be able to get something done from there, but he's in a tier 8 tank. He's got a dead commander. Honestly, I don't think he's going to be able to get too much done.
I feel like he's going to have to be a play for time maybe later if the battle comes to it.
Yeah, about 6 minutes left.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so maybe he comes in and does some damage to Canadian Impact. He could certainly deal enough that he's annoying, and that might have an effect. But other factors are certainly going to come into play first. First of all being that the mediums are going to rejoin the rest of the Elevate tanks, and then you're going to have a full 6 press versus the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, and one can't be taking trades like that, particularly in the position that EL is at the moment. Elevate, I think it's just going to be the slow and steady victory here for Elevate. They're not going to try and do anything too crazy. They're not going to make mistakes. They're just going to slowly choke EL Gaming.
Yeah, and that Kronwagen, see from Quiet, it looks like he's able to get some shots out here or there. That's a tank to actually watch out for, because the Kronwagen in hull down, if he can get back into one as opposed to 1v1ing a Batchat in the open, which I don't agree with, although he is able to get it. All right, Quiet gets a kill on Canadian. External, though, takes down Fox. Alex Mathis takes down Rattlesnake.
Yep.
And yeah, it's just that press a moment more, and Elevate's able to pick up another win. That's going to give them a 2-point lead in the series, and ever closer to their first victory. Although at the same time, we've watched this go back and forth, and yeah, maybe a strong map for Elevate.
Well, what have we got left in the pool? We've got Ruinberg left, and we've got Cliff left, and I think Himmelsdorf was the tiebreaker. So,
yeah, I know what you're thinking. It's what are these guys going to really go for? Although there is, looks like the cap. That's Dodo and Nits.
Yeah, it's game over. I mean, there was always going to be game over, really.
They knew they didn't want to let the timer go too far. Yep. They knew that light tank alive was going to hide somewhere and just be a difficult tank.
Okay, so 5-3 advantage at the moment for Elevate. They're looking good. Looking good.
Yeah. As watching Elevate right now, next to their normal play, this is sloppy.
Right.
This is not the level of play that I would expect from Elevate. The kind of coordinated, very methodical, almost robotic kind of moves that we see in North America.
Yep.
Could just be the contrast, though. EL is a team that, sitting down here and watching these two teams play, if I hadn't seen them ever play before, I'd actually be saying this is a solid EL. The EL Gaming is a solid team.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to be here. There's no reason that I see for them not to be standing toe to toe with Elevate right now. So they haven't shown a deficiency in any level or in any skill that Elevate doesn't.
I think there's been some questionable pushes from EL Gaming. That's the only thing that I'd really say where I was like, maybe shouldn't have gone for that. Like, for example, Black pushing there on Muravanka to try and get a defensive position over the one flag. You can understand why he does it, but in the situation that they were in, it was the incorrect choice.
I see what you're going for. I think what happened there was it wasn't a conscious decision with the intel to tell you that you were walking into what you were doing. I think EL missed picking up on what Elevate was doing, right? Because Elevate's lineup in North America says a certain strat, which is much slower and more east side. And maybe that's what EL saw. Maybe EL saw that and said, oh, this is going to be east side all day. And we'll have to play off of that, see how it goes. And if that's just kind of me, a little bit of hypothetical here, but maybe that's where they were going with their line of thinking, and that would have kind of explained some of this. But at the same time, then you think back into like, why is Black going all the way out to the west like that? And when they think he's going east side, and maybe you're right. Maybe it was a foolish play, and that might be a point of criticism. Something that if they win this, they can go back to the locker room and say, hey, we need to fix this for next time.
Yep.
If not, then that might have been one of the losses that they just couldn't afford. And we'll have to see as we are getting into Ruinberg.
Yeah, onto Ruinberg, and it's a map that very often lends itself to a 1-1. The defensive side, a bit more favorable than the attacking side here, but Elevate will be starting off on the attack. So if they can actually pick up this attacking round, being that they are now on 5 rounds, then there's a chance that they close it out here. You said something like 7-2, 7-3 was your prediction?
That was...
It's a possibility.
That's what I'm feeling, but I want that to be the prediction less and less as this goes by.
Right.
I want this actually to be closer and closer because, of course, I'm a North American. I love my Elevate over EL any day of the week. But watching EL play is nice. I like this match. This is fun for me. This is one of those matches that I'm going to remember for a while.
Yeah, Fox TS in the STRV didn't get too much done there on Muravanka, but here on Ruinberg, he's tracked it out once more. He's got another opportunity to go for it. And Elevate, they seem to be reading this pretty well. They're going very, very quickly into the 2 flag, which is not at all where EL Gaming is set up to defend.
Yeah, that actually might work pretty well for Elevate. If they realize what they have, they may be able to press for a cap, but just in time, we'll probably see the EL tanks come back and start the resets. And here we go, Quiet getting caught out in his opening run, going down just about half hit points. That's rough. You don't...
Yeah, another one as well, right through the mid. I think that was Oxmathis that must have got that shot, but that's not a good start at all for EL Gaming. And Elevate, 2 tanks already on this cap. They're really pressuring EL.
Yeah, this is great for Elevate. This is exactly what they want. They've got Oxmathis in his position. They've got Canadian Impact and some wall hacks all in the mid. And there they go. They even see the weakness. They're going to pull off the cap. They're going to say, okay, this is not what we want to walk into. We know the Crossfire's coming back on us. Let's back off, pull them into this, and take down 1 or 2 tanks on either flank. So they go for M1 or they need to go for Hardliner.
Yep.
I think that's what Elevate's focusing on. Doesn't look like they're going to do much with the east side over there. They don't want to get mixed up with the village.
Yeah, but Elevate have managed enough out of that push that they're going to be able to feel like that was fairly successful. EL Gaming haven't really been able to push too much back into them. 1 shot or 1 or 2 shots has gone into Brett, but realistically speaking, that's not going to worry him all that much at this point. So EL Gaming, they've been giving a little bit more breathing room now, given that Elevate did drop off that flag, but now we see another tank getting on there. I think it's Canadian Impact that's managed to jump on the 2 flag here. And again, we'll have to see EL Gaming respond to this.
Yeah, that's what's probably going through their minds is right now, of course, we know the Crossfires are there. We can't just peek out. What are the angles of approach? And you see Rattlesnake right now. He is spotted, but he's moving up one of the better angles to actually approach and try and reset the cap without taking too much damage. And in a mouse of all tanks, he can actually bounce a few shells here and there. This could work out for a reset. But what comes up next is Elevate, of course, knows this tank's moving up. They're prepared for it, and they probably bring some guns to bear. But I like this. I like that. See, Hardliner with Fox TS covering him, moving down the 0 line. That's what EL needs to do in order to get control of the east side back. So that'll give them the high ground with the Deflate, which is cover.
The response starting to come out here from Elevate at the moment, pushing forward and putting Hardliner under pressure there. He gets that shot right into the ground, so not too great from him, but he does have his teammates backing him up here. So this is going to be the real question, how long Hardliner can survive here, if he can survive, and if he can get some damage across. Otherwise, EL Gaming is going to lose a tank for free, and that at the moment looks like it's what is going to happen. EL Gaming, that's not great at all. Hardliner goes down. Black does take out Canadian Impact, and Nice Fine's got Emperor Brett. So a 2-for-1 trade overall, actually at the moment for EL Gaming, but Fox TS now under pressure.
Yeah, and he's going to try and book it out of there. He's taking 1 more shell, is actually going to finish him off. We'll see if anyone from Elevate can sink that. If so, no. Looks like he's going to get away. That's going to be great damage later on in this battle.
M1 in mid here at the moment is under a lot of pressure as well, and he is going to be dropped to 2, so that's a big kill for Elevate. Gives them a lot of map control. But it seems as though we've kind of equalized at the moment. Both teams fairly even on the HP. They've both got the same amount of guns in the game. And at the moment, I think that's kind of favorable for EL Gaming. Because they're on the defensive side, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to play this one out. But that's not to say that Elevate can't come back straight into this one and win it out.
Totally possible with Fox TS. If he can get a solid position with just his
camo and
yeah, exactly. That could be beautiful. And especially you've got this Type 5 mouse combo. I love seeing this stuff right now because the Type 5, he can just throw some lob shells. Actually, he's about perfect lob distance for Dodoma and wall hacks, which are, by the way, also ideal targets for him. But he needs to be careful, taking a little damage from angles he's not expecting, and that's gotta give it to Elevate. Good support.
Really good setup here for Elevate at the moment. You can see how much pressure Nice is under, and it's more of a matter of if, or when rather, not if he's going to go down. And there we go. So he does get dropped. That really opens up things now a little bit here for Elevate. They've got a massive health advantage. Black, he needs to make a play here, but I don't think it's the right idea because Dodoma's still full HP. He does spot him out. STRV, though, of Fox TS in a great position to get a shot across there. So immediately, EL Gaming do trade back that deficit that they had. It's still favorable right now for Elevate, though, in terms of the HP.
Yeah, just for now, and we'll see how that works out, because we saw Fox TS deal the damage and look quiet on the west side, maybe able to sink some support fire, and we'll have to see if that comes into play. Oxmathis now moving out. Quiet takes down External, and Black still on the southeast, pinned by wall hacks. Damage, though, finally coming into Oxmathis. He did not expect Quiet, but Quiet's not able to sink a lot of damage here. That mouse is a healthy tank.
It's a little tough when you're in a bad chat AP to try and get some damage out on a mouse, but the back of the mouse, that one should have penned. I'm not sure what was happening there. That went right into the back of the turret.
Just, there's this one spot right there where you just happened to slip.
Yeah, but anyway, still, 4 versus 3 here. EL Gaming have the guns in the game. Elevate have the health advantage, only slightly though.
I think I gotta give position to EL. What do you think there?
Hard to say.
High ground from Rattlesnake, the Fox TS with the camo and the high ground there. I mean, once Oxmathis crests here.
I think Rattlesnake is going to be very, very difficult to dislodge for Elevate. That's going to be the key for me here. If he goes down, actually, that's where we start to see Elevate maybe pulling ahead here. But if he can survive a little bit longer, allow these batch hat APs to get those reloads off, that's when EL Game is going to come back in.
Don't forget about Black, though. Black is in the southeast still, I believe, unless he's managed to escape. Nitz takes down Rattlesnake. Black takes down Wall Hacks, and it's going to be Black in the south. He's got not a lot of hit points. It's pretty much one-shots all across the board. Quiet can take a shell.
Take one.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, very.
Depends on the roll.
Yeah. Nitz, and there we go. You got Fox spotted, but Nitz goes down to Quiet. Nice shot from the northwest. And now Oxmathis and a mouse, a slow tank.
Yeah, he's spotted. I don't think he survives here much longer.
EL is barely squeaked this one by.
It's been like, that's the case that's happened in a lot of these rounds as well, though, where, you know, it's looked very, very close towards the end of things.
And then EL barely kind of, you feel like
just scrounges it through. And that's on the defensive side as well, where EL should be favored here. So when they move on to the attack, but you have to question, are they going to be able to pick that up and bring it back to 5-5, or are we going to see Elevate again just drawing ever closer to that round number 7?
Yeah, and there it goes. That's going to be EL picking up another one and bringing it closer. So what I think is going on with that is I think EL's doing a better job of kind of bringing themselves back into a series when they've started behind than it is Elevate maybe kind of
having trouble closing it out.
Yeah, they definitely are, though. On the battles that EL's been managing to kind of bring themselves back into it, I feel like Elevate hasn't pressed an advantage they could have had.
I think you could say the same thing about some of the rounds that we saw out of EL as well, early on in the piece on Himmelsdorf and Mainz.
You know what, that's actually, that's a good point. So it's very much playing with a lot of hypotheticals, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of gray area where there's not a whole lot we can say for sure with that. It's a lot of what ifs and all that. But looking at the solid stuff, we've got numbers.
We do have numbers. 5.5k blocked by Oxmathis, 4.9 dealt. That is a champion effort, but not enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Expect nothing less from Oxmathis, one of probably the best players in the game overall. And then right behind, the EL guys are putting up better damage, blocking more damage. Yep. That's what they did. They just played better fundamentals.
It was very, very close, though. Really, it came down to 1 or 2 shots. If maybe one shot from Elevate would have penned where maybe it didn't, then that could have turned things around, and EL would have lost that one. We'd be down at 6. Elevate moving on to the defensive side. Very, very good chance to close things out. But at the very least for EL Gaming here, they will see themselves through to the next map. Even if they do lose this, there's still chances for them. They're not hanging on by the skin of their teeth just yet, but it's almost there.
It's scrappy. It's scrappy. They're certainly on the ropes. They've been pressed up against that. They've just been getting hammered by Elevate here, but Elevate hasn't been perfect. Elevate hasn't been able to just completely understand their opponent and then dictate what's going on here. Both teams are trying to figure out how their opponent thinks, trying to figure out what's going on with that respect. And here we've got a little few replays back and forth as we load into Ruinberg side number 2. I think Elevate's been trying some trickier stuff. A little bit, throw some curveballs here and there. EL's been playing a solid, basic, fundamental game, which there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. It just, there are times when you got caught off guard by counter strats and clever plays from Elevate.
5-4 the scoreline there. You can see on the stage, it's a Pretty fantastic stage, really.
Oh, yes.
When I walked into this place for the first time, I had a bit of a wow moment.
It's absolutely stunning to just stand there. It's massive.
Yeah.
Stretches all the way from the top of the ceiling all the way down into that stage, and it's something to see.
All right, well.
Back into the game,
on
right?
to Ruinberg here. EL Gaming moving out on the attack, and it does look as though they are going to be making their way to the 2 flag. And I think you've noticed something that you might want to comment on.
I do want to comment on the fact that there are 3 mouse
Yep.
on the side of EL. Now, when you do that, you're slow.
You are.
But you've got so many hit points, so much armor. With that, I've seen very recently, of course, with the introduction of the new mouse meta, as everyone's calling it, the fact that just by choosing that many mouse, you have too many hit points and too much armor.
Oh, dude, this is bad for Black. Wallhax has spotted him out. I don't know if Black actually is going to be able to survive here. He's in a really poor position. One more shot, and that's a very, very good start for Elevate here. EL Gaming losing your tier 8 tank. So crucial on a map like this to be able to put someone like that on your 2 flag. And now, if they want to go for a flag capture, they're going to have to put a Bat Chat on there, or maybe the STRV, but it's not the ideal situation.
Definitely. It felt hugely wasteful to me as well. I did not agree with an early move like that. It could have sold something to Elevate and forced them to make a different move, but you can tell they didn't. They scouted everything out. They
Poor
saw the
scouting from
lineup.
EL, really.
Yes.
And the fact that they push something like that as well when they have a predominantly heavy lineup, triple mouse, the mouse aren't going to be in a position to help out that tier 8 tank that early on in the piece. So, like you said, it feels very, very wasteful from EL Gaming, and I think that's going to come back and bite them a little bit later on down the track here, but it's not the end of the world. It is 1 tank. It's still salvageable here for EL Gaming, but it just makes the job 10 times more difficult for them.
And I'll jump off of that for a moment. As a scout player, one of the things that is very, very easy to do, of course, when you're a light tank, and this is pub battles, any situation, you take your light tank, you go up for an opening scout run, and you don't account for the rest of your team. You don't account for the fact that, yes, you didn't have, you know, IS-7s chasing you up. You had mouse, and they didn't even round the corner to the correct lane to cover you before you were already exposed and scouting. If you're scouting targets and there's no cover fire, then there needs to be a purpose to that, right?
Yeah, like what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? If you're getting intel so you can make a move based off of that, sure. But if you can get damage and intel, even better. If you're going to put cap pressure on, force your opponent to try and do something like move around the map and figure out what's going on, then you need to cover that. You need to give a payoff, because otherwise you have what just happened with Black. And yes, it sucks, and I don't want to harp too hard on him, but in general, it's an important thing to remember when you're a scout, to understand that not only is it about you getting vision, it's about your team being able to do something with that.
Yeah, nice having lost his commander there as well. It's really going to affect the scouting of EL Gaming. They've lost their light tank. Now their Bat Chat doesn't have a commander. It's not good here as well for Hardliner. I'm not sure what at all is going on for EL Gaming, but I can tell you, it's not good.
No, it's not. They've stalled out. Look at the positions right now. What are you going for if you're EL Gaming? Are you pressuring the 2 cap? Truly. Are you truly pressuring? No, you're not. Are you doing anything with that 1 cap?
No.
You're not playing for either of the hard objectives. You're also not playing for much of real control. You've got 1 lane down the middle that's horizontally along the Echo and Foxtrot lines there, middle of the map. And then you've got nothing north side. You've got almost nothing protecting you. If Elevate decided to bring a medium tank into flank, like one of the Bat Chats, just to explore, he could probably pick up some free damage before he'd be forced to leave. So what I'm looking at right now from Elevate, and tell me where you see a hole, but they've got all of the important objectives covered.
I don't see a hole.
Yeah.
I've just been thinking, sitting here looking at that map saying, if I was EL Gaming, where am I pushing here to try and get into the 2 flag or into the 1 flag? And there's no answer.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, they're going to take damage for it, and they can't afford to take damage in the position that they're at right now.
And they also have to salvage this with 5 minutes and what's nearing 40 seconds left. Now, with Ruinberg moving around with a lineup, we talked about this earlier, they brought 3 mouse.
Yep.
But they're very slow. They don't move around so quickly. They're not able to just get up to the 1 cap and then decide to go, let's switch to the 2 cap because of an opportunity. No, they're going to need to pick a direction, and that's just about what we're going to see from them for the rest of the battle.
Looks like maybe it'll be the 1 flag. You do see the rotation from EL Gaming coming back out of that 2 area of the map, so you'd think the only reason that they're going to do this is that they want to rotate up to 1.
It makes sense.
Or maybe push down mid, but then they walk into a crossfire.
No, I don't think mid. I think you were right on the first one with the 1 cap. It's send the mouse up there. You've got, you could pop, the S-Tank is probably what they'll hide. They'll probably take the S-Tank, Fox CS. just kind of slip him in behind the mouse, see
Yeah.
if he can do anything. Maybe even turn him around so he just shoots at whoever shows up.
So you think it's going to be a shield strategy from EL?
That seems like the only option left. I don't see any reasonable fights they can engage in or force. Elevate could make a mistake, of course, but I don't think they're going to go for that based on the...
You can't rely on your opponent making a mistake.
Exactly. You can understand your opponent, you can find their weaknesses, but if you count on it, then, well, there's subjects we can bring up about understanding when normal players or the average player in a pub will get impatient, but here these guys are trained hard enough that they aren't going to just decide to play corner games because they're bored. It's not going to be 2 minutes of nothing and they're just decide, I'm going to go around.
Peek.
Yeah, they're going to hold steady. And when you see people deviate from that discipline, that's when you see them get smacked down and take damage they shouldn't.
Well, it does indeed seem as though EL are setting up for that one flag push, and find out what they do decide to inevitably actually go for, whether it is going to be that shield strategy or if they're going to just try and plonk all 3 of the mouses on the cap and try and take a brawl, something like that. Realistically though, anything that they decide to try and do here is probably going to play into the hands of Elevate, because Elevate, they've got so many firing lines down these angles that EL is pushing that by the time EL Gaming gets into the one flag, they're probably going to have lost more HP than they can afford.
Yes, and now what we're going to talk about is the one thing this hinges on for Elevate. They have to get 2 tanks from the southeast all the way up into the north and not lose their tanks up north too quickly. So they're going to be overmatched. Elevate's going to have less guns on the battlefield to deal the damage that they need to at the beginning of this fight. And yes, if they can't get those tanks from the southeast all the way back up north, they're going to lose. But
well, here comes the push from EL Gaming. They need to make this work. Canadian Impact is actually going to have a good time against Nice there. Actually got Emperor Brett picking up the kill, but realistically speaking, it would have gone the way of Elevate regardless. EL Gaming, they are trying to take this fight here on the flag. Rattlesnake and Quiet in the mouses, pushing around, trying to take a brawl, but...
No, this is good. This is good from EL. This is fundamentally on this push what you want. They keep the mouses going forward, right? If they wait too long, those tanks from the southeast, they'll be joining the fight. Now they need to get rid of Dodoma. If they can do that, they back off, put the pressure on Cap, and there is your advantage.
Oh, Quiet is in a lot of trouble right now. He's taking a huge amount of damage. Does get traded out for the kill that EL Gaming did manage to pick up. So 4 tanks alive for EL. Very unhealthy tanks, generally speaking there. Elevate, they've got 5 tanks alive, mostly healthy tanks.
They should have this now. This was well played by Elevate. It was a little delicate for a moment, but they made their shots count.
Maybe Wallhax is under a bit of pressure here, but Hardline is in a 113. That's a one-shot. So
yeah, you should be okay. Oh,
maybe not.
Maybe not. There's those little things that change the battle.
Yeah, but is it going to change the battle? I don't think so at this point.
It's the things that change the battle now are definitely down to shots, penning, and bouncing, right? So if Brett, or it looks like Nitz takes down the mouse there. If those shells hadn't penned like they ought to, then maybe you see a different battle, and that's where things deviate. But now it's 4-2. It was 3 before, and it's easy to call at this point.
Yeah, there's no way that EL comes back from this.
Yeah, I tend to hesitate because I always wait to see that stroke of brilliance.
Yeah.
You want it to happen, right? Because you know every one of these players has it inside them, and each of these teams, because you've seen it once or twice before. But
not much of a chance for it here.
Yeah, not against this level of skill. It's difficult. It's quite tricky.
So that's going to put Elevate on match point.
Just about.
There we go. So 6-4 now, and you need 1 out of the final 2 rounds in regulation time. If we do get a 2-0 from EL on that final map, then we find ourselves on the tiebreaker. But that's a little bit ahead of us right now.
A little bit. We'll see where they get to after this one, because as we move on, let's look back a little bit and just kind of note the fact that this has been back and forth at the beginning. Elevate kind of caught a lead when we went over to Ghost Town, but Murrow and Ruinberg have been pretty close.
Exactly.
So this next map, in order to go to the tiebreaker, has to be EL's map.
Definitely.
They
has
have
to be a 2-0.
Cliff. And of all maps, okay, this is it. This is the map for EL.
Yeah.
This is the one they can take to a tiebreaker. This is one of the places where Elevate actually does drop wins in their regular season as opposed to their other maps. And I'm sure Rox on the analysis desk will have plenty to say about Cliff and about Elevate's way that they play it, because there's tons of holes you can poke in their past play. But Yes.
At the end of the day, you have to inevitably play one of those maps. You can only ban one map in this best of 13 format. So it would have been Steps from EL Gaming that got banned and Prokhorovka from Elevate that was banned. But to see us on Cliff here, you say that Elevate maybe aren't going to be hugely confident on this map. I think it's a fairly similar sort of a storyline really for EL Gaming. They do have a decent win rate on it, but that's against the APAC teams. There were quite a few flaws for them playing on Cliff here. If they don't start off on the defensive side, they're going to be in a bit of a struggle street. So I'm hoping to see, at least for EL's sake, that they are going to start off on the defensive side, they get a good win there, maybe take that momentum through to their attacking side and see if they can take it out, get the 2-0, maybe take it through to the tiebreaker. But I'm just not confident in predicting that EL can get a 2-0 here. So I'm thinking it's going to be Elevate closing it out here. At worst, with EL Gaming getting one map. Well, one round.
Yeah, possibly. Then this is the one to do. You were talking about EL starting on defense. I think it's EL starting on offense that gives them an option, because defense for Elevate's been tricky. That's where the problem lies in all this. So what your prediction, combined with what I seem to bring from this, kind of says is EL either side
could work.
They could do it. So we just have to wait and see what the strategies are, how they play out, you know, what the decision is here. As the lineups, it looks like EL's going to go for an IS-4, Kronwagen, Bat, another S-Tank. Does that kind of tell you anything about what you're expecting there from them?
Not really.
Okay.
An S-Tank actually here from EL Gaming is not something that we see all that often actually on Cliff, nor is the IS-4. So I think maybe they've actually decided to sort of pull something out here that's not their default strategy. They're down, but they're not quite out. This is their last throw of the dice.
Yes, but look at the lineup now compared to Elevate. Much more mobile. You've got two WZ-1... No, that's a WZ-132-1 and a WZ-132. So just slight difference in the two tanks. Probably not worth it to go into exactly why they're so different. They're relatively similar in performance, right? And you've got the T100, TVP. I like seeing a TVP from Ox Mathis. It's just solid damage, very, very fast, easy to kind of, you know, punch someone in the nose and force them back down, or just take them out entirely.
This is actually a very defensive setup from EL Gaming. They have not pushed very aggressively at all. They've gotten not a lot of map control. And what they were hoping for here, I suppose, is that Elevate would actually push in. But EL Gaming have not done, or Elevate have not done that, so EL Gaming just going to be sitting here.
Yeah, just kind of patient. Looks like we've cut out of game right now, so it may be, looks like a DC call.
Yeah, I think we're going to reset this one.
From time to time, of course, you know, things happen, and that looks like what's going down. So that's why you saw the defensive play.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it was quite curious. Yeah. So what's going to happen is they're going to back out whatever technical or whatever issue could have come up, or just simple connection, little hiccup. Get those fixed, load right back into game, and we'll carry on with the exact same tank lineups. Players in those tanks, by the way, and any other settings or any other details.
So that actually gives both of these teams a little bit more time to actually think about what tank lineups they're going to be going up against, because what we've been seeing so far, obviously you can't see it on the stream, but we can see it here in the lobby, is that teams are taking down to the very last 5 seconds or so before the game is live to actually ready up their tanks, just to hide that from their opponents for as long as possible. But now both of these teams, they've seen those two lineups, they've got more time. Does that favor EL on the attack because they can think about how they want to break the defense? Or does it favor EL Gaming, or Elevate, sorry, on the defense because they maybe can think about what EL's going to be doing on the attack here?
Okay, yeah. So we'll play it. Let's start with Elevate on defense with the more mobile lineup, right? So they don't have the static lineup you might expect from a defender with maybe some mouse, IS-7, IS-4, heavier stuff mixed in to kind of just brace yourselves against that attack. If I'm Elevate, am I thinking about just going hyper-aggressive, or what am I thinking about more? I'm probably thinking about trying to figure out where the weaknesses are in that initial run, and maybe catching a scout, catching something else out. Now, there wasn't any real intel gained from the last time, because in order to call a legal DC that an admin will allow, you actually can't have no tanks can be spotted or damaged. So what that means is no intel can be attained that is dependable like that. And of course, after that call is accepted, players are still moving around, so they may have very often they'll even try and throw your opponent off. So right now, any intel they may have gathered from that opening scout run, stuff like that we saw in game is irrelevant. So what I think Elevate's going for is they'll go for the hill to kind of cut it short. They're going to go up into the hill, take the high ground, and then from there avoid the IS-4. just find the side of the map the IS-4 is not on, and you can just group up and attack. The IS-4 will not be able to reposition well enough, and this extends to other tanks as well, depending on what intel you gather, right? Just take the slow tanks and use your mobility to just attack flanks, kind of skirmish. Or even wolf pack, sometimes is how you call it, because instead of kind of, you know, poking at your opponent, sometimes you just gang up on whoever's alone.
On the same token, though, then for EL Gaming, being on the attack, they'll think about how is things going to go here for Elevate on the defense. They maybe come to the same conclusion that you did, that perhaps Elevate is going to try and take control of that hill. Then do they set up for kind of a counterplay to that? Do they set up to get shots into the players climbing the hill?
That's a good play, because you can get an IS-4 into position to fire on the hill pretty quickly in the battle. You don't have to worry about him not quite making it in time so that he misses a shot. He can stop at one of the initial rocks on those opening moves and just zero fire. So certainly a good option there. But what EL has to be careful about is not grouping up too much just because their opponent might know what their lineup is. Because then they might end up, you know, getting themselves into kind of a box. They'll need to still do the spread. They'll need to still kind of scout it out and play intelligently. But the intel that both teams have gathered, they'll have to know works both ways. And they can't. What's important that both teams don't do, I guess, is take that for granted. Don't sit there and be like, oh yeah, we know what their lineup is, so we'll just make sure that the things we know we're already going to do just go better. Instead, you need to say, okay, what might my opponent change about what they'll do because of what they know? Now you've answered the right question, right?
A lot of questions to be asked, really, across the board for both of these teams.
But if you can answer that core one, what's my opponent going to do with the knowledge they've got? That's the one question you need to answer. And generally, I felt in my experience, and that's enough of an answer that you're probably in the right direction.
Right.
Yes, there's other stuff that comes up, but answer that core thing. There's always one big question you have to answer first before you can get into the weeds.
A lot of hypotheticals coming out here.
Oh, of course.
There is a lot of things that can come down to it, and really it is just down to this final map here. I mean, we've come a long way to get here. 1-1 on Himmelsdorf, 1-1 on Mainz, 2-0 to Elevate on Ghost Town. And then 1-1 again on Muravanka and Ruinberg. So it's been quite a long series. We're pretty much going the distance here in this best of 13, and it's only the first match of the day, so there's plenty more coming up after this. But I really just want to see this one go through to a tiebreak. I would love to see the first match in the arena going to all 13.
Oh, absolutely, because we get the tiebreaker. We get to just feel out every little bit of a match. I like seeing tiebreakers because what you get is you get to see those cumulative stats.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's figured out is, of course, like fastest win on attack.
Yep.
Right? So on the attacking side...
Whatever that would be, by the way.
I'll have to check with our admins to make sure. They're of course, tracking the round times.
Yeah.
But yeah, first it'll go to fastest attack. Now, fun fact, if you don't have a fastest win on attack, which would mean that...
Everyone won on the defense.
Yeah, but we do have wins on attack, by the way, so that doesn't come in. But if it did, it would be then the total cumulative damage dealt, I believe. I'll have to make sure.
Yeah. That sounds right to me.
Yeah, and so with that, that's if you had 0 winners on attack. Like if it was just defender winners, you would have to actually have someone has to go back and add up all of the damage dealt manually most of the time. Poor soul when they have to do it. I've had to do it a few times. It's a bit of work, but fastest win on attack will take that. And
I think most of the wins actually have been on an attack, really, so far.
Yeah, we've got EL won on attack.
With the exception of Ruinberg and Ghost Town for Elevate won the defensive side. So everything else, I'm pretty sure, has been an attacking win.
Yeah, defense win on Ruinberg for EL, and then, Ghost Town. Everything else has been attack. Ruinberg, Elevate, and EL actually both won a defense. Did you say that? Yeah, you said that. Okay, sorry. Which is a little uncommon, actually. It's not normally what you see. Normally you see a few more defensive-sided wins and then a few attack wins here and there. But that's at least the North American region. You would expect defenders to win more often and then attackers to kind of steal one away on the right maps.
Yeah. All right, well, I suppose we'll have to wait and see how Cliff does end up going here. The team's just locking things in at the moment. But, yeah, like it's getting down to the wire here. This is kind of where the pressure is going to start to build on both of these two teams because Elevate, they know that they're in a position to close this one out, to make their way through to the semi-finals, defeat EL Gaming. But for EL Gaming, they know that this is their last chance. They are now hanging on by the skin of their teeth.
And they've just had that DC. It's something that can get into your head. When you're especially newer, younger players, watch out for those guys on your team when these kinds of things happen. Because guess what? They just lost a minute or two that they were ready to go, right? Elevate, sitting there ready to close this one out. You stop them short, make sure no one on the team is all of a sudden out of their head zone, that has lost focus just because they had to wait a second. It's an important thing when you're thinking about any competition, just how the team is playing, the mentality everyone is in, and that outside of the game aspect of what's going on. Because if you worry about just the strats, just the inside of the game, you'll forget that one person is stressed. And like somebody had to stay up all night working on strats, you know? Someone was looking at stats, someone was really pouring all of their heart and soul into the work that needed to happen. And you have to pay attention to that aspect of this. And that's certainly a place to watch out for. Make sure no one slips up.
So here we go. EEL Gaming coming out on the attack, Elevate on the defense, and EEL Gaming, yeah, they're just setting up fairly about as much as you would expect, really. Like,
but here's the change. Didn't we see that IS-4 going east side?
Yeah, we may have. Yeah.
And that's a good change up. Safe play. Going west side and bunching up some of your most important tanks is going to be a good way of taking control that Elevate can't exactly hard counter, right? So if you push west side, the low ground, you overmatch it, like we're seeing right now with the Kronvog and IS-4 moving up. Yes, Elevate can come in on the high ground, but if you get yourselves up onto the high ground, the grid coordinates on your mini-map are Echo 3 and Foxtrot 3. If you're up there and you're EL, you're fine, generally. If you stay down below, watch out here. Dodoma.
What is going on here?
Why is he? No, this is not good for him. He has just gotten off the hill, down to the low ground, taking most of his hit points, and he needs to back off. Support's coming in from Elevate. They're moving into position to start dealing damage, but if they cannot deal it fast enough, they're going to lose out on a lot of potential.
They have lost a lot of HP there. Dodoma is lucky to survive at the moment, but he's still alive, and that's what matters right now for Elevate. As long as they don't lose a tank, they'll still have those guns in the game, but realistically speaking, these trades working very, very well for EEL Gaming. Elevate need to respond.
Yes, they do, and we're going to be watching the low ground, yes, with the IS-4 and the Kronvagen, but that's something that Elevate can kind of push off till later. They need to also worry about the high ground, not forget about the fact that, oh yes, look at this, I love this from EL, this is good, this is good. Send Fox TS, send their Kronvagen up to the high ground after pressuring the low ground. It looks to Elevate like EL has just gone for a suicide run into the one cap area of the map. So they're going to try and reposition around that. They do not yet know that the Kronvagen, the S-Tank, the IS-4, everything has moved back into that high ground that we were talking about a minute ago.
Oh, and have a look at this as well. Black's wrapping around the back of the lighthouse. Dodoma headed in his direction. If Dodoma does get spotted out, that's going to be a free kill for Black because, remember, he's on 169 or 189 HP, in fact.
Yep.
Easy kill for the Bat Chat as long as it hits.
Yes, that's huge right now because the thing is, Elevate's expecting Dodoma's low on hit points. All right, how can we use him still in this battle? All right, let's send him off into the back.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Black gets the kill. Nicely done. Nicely done. This is looking okay for EL right now because losing Dodoma like that, this tells me that Elevate is not in, doesn't have tempo. They don't have control in that sense. They're kind of reacting right now.
Is this going to be the turnaround here? Because we see a lot of damage coming out from Oxmathis, or maybe not a huge amount, but a decent amount onto Rattlesnake, and he's actually being pressured from that little donut, or what we call the donut, just above him here from Canadian Impact, but he's going to be cleaned up by Black, so EEL Gaming have got 2 tanks advantage. We have seen them in this position before, though, so not going to get ahead of ourselves here. This is still winnable for Elevate, but EEL Gaming are in the driver's seat right now.
And now External in that WZ-132-1 is going to start chasing down Black on reload. And he can deal some damage. I think he's going to not quite be able to deal enough to get the kill there. That's
still good damage.
But good. Yes. He can chase this up if he can, but right now he's got Emperor Brett's left alone. Kronvagen comes in, just about reloaded, and there, gets the kill. Nicely played by EL. This is how you take control. And they're just step by step. Elevate has also left themselves behind. They do not have the hit points, the armor, to hold against an IS-4 Kronvagen combo and an S-Tank as well. I'm really feeling like EL's going to keep themselves in this series with this one. They should be able to take a win here.
They should be able to take a win, but it must be said that they have a lot of low HP tanks here, so one mistake from EEL Gaming, they're going to lose 2 or 3 tanks very, very quickly, and then all of a sudden, Elevate straight back in the driver's seat. So EEL, as far as I'm concerned, still need to play this one out almost perfectly.
You're right, because look at the WZs, the 132-1 and the 132. Those are tanks that you don't want to underestimate. They deal decent damage, and against what you've got here, 1 or 2 shells, you're right, are going to be able to take down those tanks. Do not underestimate. Oh, you can hear the heat sizzle on the front of the S-Tank there. And what I love, of course, about the S-Tank is you've got that little shield, helps you against Exactly that. Heat shells. Just
nice, taking a free shot of damage there. As again, Elevate slowly but surely sort of making this one competitive.
But look at this. Quiet's getting aggressive. He understands.
He has to be the one to do it. He's the one with HP to play with.
Yep. Just move on forward. Get the proxy spot. If you're in 50 meters of a tank, you just spot it. And there, Oxmathis finds M1. He should be able to get the win here. He fires faster.
Oh,
and
that's
now,
really nicely played.
If Oxmathis does not reload, which is he on reload? I cannot tell.
He fired 3.
He fired 3. If he chose to reload, he may go down, but Nice is going to back off. Nice isn't going to take the risk. He does not want to run around and decide, okay, did this TVP reload? Didn't he reload? Am I going to be able to get a kill, or am I going to throw this one for my team? Plays it safe. I think it was the right call as well. I think it was the right call. It's working out. It's working out.
Oh, Hardliner, I think a little bit lucky to avoid taking some damage there, to be honest. But he's going to be okay for the moment, just backing off, and he's got 10 seconds left on that reload, so needs to be very, very careful up here because he's being pressured from all sides. External's kind of got control of the hill. Not full control, but enough that it's going to really cause some question marks in the mind here of Hardliner.
Here's the thing, that Bat Chat, if he finds, and he just did find External, he can win in the 1v1.
Yeah.
He will win in this. Now, External, if he's smart, will back off the hill here once he's engaged, and that
Whoa, look at that. Wallhack just took a big chunk of damage. Not sure where that came from. Fox TS and perhaps Rattlesnake, I'd imagine, but that's a good swing there for EL Gaming because it puts one of these Elevate tanks on a one-shot. Now Elevate has to play a little bit more careful, like what EL Gaming has been doing so far. They can no longer be the ones as much to try and dictate the play of this game.
Exactly. And yes, this is where EL wins. If EL just plays it smart, yes, I like that.
That's
nice
really
on cap.
smart.
Nice on cap. That'll be something to work with. Now, Wallhack's in the back is pinned. He's also the caller right now, by the way. So just bring that point up, the fact that the person who is in charge of the tactical play has not died yet. There, External plays well on the top of the hill, but without the caller dead, Wallhacks, he actually has more to worry about.
More to focus on.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's a long battle too. So he's not sitting there thinking about all of the little things he's trying to put in place or have his players do that add up to victory. He's having to worry about his own play and how it contributes in that sense, along with directing the team. Now, there are other players on the team that back him up, but this is less than optimal for Elevate to have to try and clutch.
Oxmathis here. This is going to be a key play, actually. If he can take down Hardliner, get control of the hill here, that could be enough maybe for Elevate to start to come back into this one. I was thinking, what's the end game for Elevate? How do they come back into this? Because it's going to be tough for them to get the resets. And oh dear, Fox TS goes down. That's very poor play from him. And Oxmathis finds himself a free kill. Still 1 minute left on that timer for the cap. It's really not too much of a dangerous situation right now for Elevate. Oxmathis fires on the 3rd shot. He's still got one more here. And Hardliner gets dropped as well by External. Now 4 tanks left alive for EL Gaming. Elevate, they're really coming back into this one now.
All right, they've got a chance here now. Wallhack's look is gonna go down. Nicely done by Quiet. That's what they need to do. He was gonna go around to the back. Look at this, Black also moving to the cap, and that's going to work out. If External cannot get there in time to get a reset, it's gonna be over. And
but if he does get a reset, it's a kill as well.
You're right, absolutely is. But he's in the open. Shots fired from Rattlesnake does not connect. He's spotted as well. So we're gonna see, if the TVP from Oxmathis.
Oxmathis just blind fired Black. He just blind fired Black.
He did?
Yeah.
All right, one more shot. He needs to get Nice. External
Nice is 10
needs to
seconds.
get him. Spotting is all he needs to get. External only needs to spot. 1 minute and 53 seconds. They can go for a draw to victory.
Rattlesnake now.
2 seconds.
He's going to be so key here. The reset doesn't come out. EL Gaming, I think they've just won it.
Wait for it. Wait for the timer up top.
Yeah, surely.
Oh, and also wait for kills. That's it.
That's it.
That's
okay.
It.
Ooh, that was close. Very, very close. Again, another one of those rounds where EL, they come so close to defeat, and they only just come away with the victory.
Ooh, that was dangerous.
This is heating up.
Oh, it was. And Elevate, I got to give, I want to give a lot of props to Elevate at the end there. That was a huge disadvantage.
It was massive.
That was a loss through and through that was waiting to happen, right? And I got to give him credit.
Oxmathis in particular did so much work in the TVP. I think he got individually like 3 or 4 kills out of those last ones.
Oh, yeah. And if he'd been able to sink one shell there, just one shell, that's a different game. I got to give it to him. Some criticisms or maybe some notes to take. WZ-132-1 and the WZ-132. I don't necessarily know why Elevate decided that, because no one's talked to me about using both tanks together,
right.
Why they would want that. It's a bit strange. I have to admit. I'm going to definitely take a note of this, and if Elevate moves on and I get a chance to, I'm going to find these guys in their training room and just ask them, why? Why? Just why?
All right, so One more round left here in the regular time. EL Gaming still down by 2, well, by 1. They were down by 2. They have a possibility to draw this one through to the tiebreaker. Moving on to the defensive side, I would say the favorable side here on Cliff as well.
Generally, but that was the worst side we just saw from Elevate. That was the worst side. They are 0-4 in the regular season.
Okay.
That's their worst map. Well, their worst side on a map. On attack, I give them a little bit better chance. So here's the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Elevate on attack, the side of the map that I consider them relatively competent, next to their defense. EL on defense here. How do you feel about this?
Fairly confident about EL on the defense. If we completely disregard who they're playing against, EL is a decent team on the defensive side. They have 70% win rate on Cliff. There's a few decent Cliff teams in APAC that they've been able to go up against, and so I think they can play it okay, but it's not their best map. It's not impossible for a victory to come out here for Elevate by any means, and it's actually possibly probable even that Elevate may be able to close this out here, but we'll have to find out how this one does turn out. EL Gaming coming out on the defensive side with a very similar sort of a lineup. They've got an IS-4 again, they've got a STRV again. This time they're on the other side of the map though.
Yeah, and the S-Tank, of course, probably going to be in the defensive position up north. And the other side for Elevate, you've got, of course, well, I like this with the mouse. I like seeing the bat chats. That's 4 of them. And you've got the new, I like seeing German lights coming in and mixed in. And then wall hacks in that artillery piece.
That's the key.
Yeah, arty where EL does not. So if EL plays slowly, if they play static, they don't move around, that's where we're going to see artillery from wall hacks start to really rain in and just mess things up. Now, if EL's fast, if they can understand where that artillery is and how to play around that, they should be just fine.
This is a nice spot for Quiet, actually. Considering Elevator's starting to push towards that 2 flag, he's got a very, very nice hold-down position there.
Yes, except with artillery.
Yeah.
It's like
this is true.
It's like a catcher's mitt, you know?
Yeah.
Or like there's a cricket thing that you guys have.
Yeah, no, I understand the point. A keeper.
Oh, keeper?
He's got gloves.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. No, I thought it was like that. Never mind. I don't know. It's Australia stuff. You guys have...
I don't think you're talking about the same game that I'm talking about.
I don't know. It's all foreign stuff. I don't know. We can barely figure out what the same name for soccer is.
Let's go with catcher's mitt, because that makes sense.
Catcher's mitt's easy peasy. And okay, it's just a catcher's mitt for shells.
Yeah.
Just wall hacks can put an M4043 shell in there, and he doesn't have to worry for much. There we go.
So Canadian Impact did get spotted out there, takes a bit of damage, but that's going to give him some information. He knows the STRV is up the back there, which, to be honest, Elevate probably would have been expecting anyway. That's kind of the position you're going to put an STRV in. But at least it's affirmation of those suspicions.
Exactly. And actually, he'll be going for probably that S-Tank for a bit. And until he sees Quiet, I doubt he's going to look anywhere but in the far back of the map. That's the place he'll be. He'll just blind fire that a few times. We'll probably check out his POV as an artillery piece here or there. And
Quiet's already taken a bit of damage, so... I suppose it's...
Quiet?
A little bit. Quiet, yeah.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to see how that goes. Ah, there it is. There it is. Okay. Sorry, I missed out on...
Yeah, so... Yeah. Anyway, EL Gaming, they haven't taken too much, nor has Elevate, though. So it's been a kind of a quiet first couple of minutes and a half.
And look at this with this and external. We'll have to follow what's going on here. Elevate's obviously thinking about where they're going to reposition those mediums, trying to find a weak point and poke it out. Ox Mathis playing the middle and a mouse. Here's the question. It's do you put your nose of the mouse into the rock that is directly to his right and
try and
reverse out,
yeah.
right? Or do you just kind of poke out? It could just be because he feels like being a little lazy with it, or
Maybe.
he wants his retreat.
Surely at this point of the game, you don't be lazy, though, 6-5.
Yeah, lazy maybe, well, lazy's probably a lazy word to use for that one, but he's got something in mind. Ox Mathis usually knows what he's going for. There we see the POV of wall hacks and artillery. He actually wasn't aimed on the mid, it looked like. For a second, it looked like he was actually just watching it, but he does end up throwing a shell that way.
50 damage, it's not really too much to talk about.
The stun happens, by the way. Remember that, of course, the stun. But
it's not going to be anything that's going to matter right now for EL, though. They'll have plenty of time to wear that off.
Yeah, it's if he's reloading, he has to wait a second longer, but of course that probably won't come into play.
At the moment, Elevate kind of, I think, just sort of waiting to see if Wall Hacks can get anything done with that M4043. They're not really pressuring too much just yet. playing it slow and steady. They've used up 4 minutes. They've probably realistically still got another 2 or 3 minutes to play with before they really have to commit to something here and push into EL.
Yeah, I'm really glad you chased that one up because that's what the factor is here. There's going to be a line that you have to draw and say, okay, we
have to go.
We can't wait. We can't wait. If you do that, it's the same mistakes that players were making two years ago when they were still trying to figure out how to play at this level, right? Players would try to play it slow, weaken their opponent, and then push on in. But you realize the longer that you play it slow, the more room for your own players to take damage, for your opponent to gather intelligence and to devise their own counter strategies. If they're static and playing very nicely for you, of course, yeah, time is great. But it's a lot of teams tend to underestimate how much they're giving to their opponent by playing slow as well.
So there's a bit of a push coming out now for for Elevate. It's hard when they both start with EL.
It is, and it's such a pronounced E.
Yeah.
As well, it's not like one of them soft and one of them's like it's tricky. Yeah, we've both been tripping up over that one all night.
Yeah. But regardless, Elevate sort of pushing forward a little bit there in the bat chats. Again, not committing to it just yet. And really, I see 2 key players right now for both these teams. Elevate. Wallhax needs to get something done, or needs to at least have some sort of an impact here.
Oh, look at Quiet in the Kronwagen taking fire. I'm pretty sure that was artillery right there, firing into the bull. With that,
Mathis, though,
but
he must have pushed out. Yeah, he's pushed out in mid, and now he's really under a lot of fire. But this is going to give the opportunity over to the Batchats to start to push forward here. Quiet needs to go down, and he should surely go down. But
watch out, Dodo and Nitz need to drive carefully.
They almost drove off the edge. That would have been a little bit too much.
It's a little bit scary on the damage there. They're going to pay heavily, but
2 kills.
Kills come in. You're right. Harder, Quiet, down. That's going to mean Ox Mathis is still alive. He should be dead soon. And that's it. But that was what he was doing that on purpose. It's obvious. That was a distraction.
That was a bait.
Yeah.
Fox TS is still alive up there and unspotted in the STRV. Nice, making a push forward down the 1 line as well. Maybe able to find Wallhax here, which could again be a little bit of an advantage there for EL Gaming. But in the grand scheme of things, I think that kill is not going to be the most important part of this match that we're going to see right now. Those 2 Batchats pushing forward from Elevate took a lot of damage, and EL Gaming and Elevate still poised at a position where both of these 2 teams could win. Black, he could close out this kill, and will. That's going to swing things in the favor of EL Gaming for me.
Yeah, Dodo makes a very good makes an effort of actually dying in a very difficult spot. Black is going to have trouble getting out. Nice, takes down that artillery piece from Wallhax before he gets his last shell out. I like this. This is good for EL. They may be able to take this one to the tiebreaker.
I think they're going to. They've got a 2-tank advantage. They've got a 3,000 HP advantage as well. Surely from this point onwards, you can't lose.
Surely, like I would find it hard.
The defense as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are very few things you could do at this point as EL not to take away the win and bring this to the tiebreaker. This is good. This is good. EL's been up against the wall. They've had the harder road through this series, and they've
had to come from behind. Yeah,
exactly. And now they're able to actually make it happen. I gotta give a lot of props to them. Elevate though, they need to work on their focus. And their Canadian Impact goes down. Brett's still alive somehow. There he goes.
Yeah, so 6-6, and that is going to be EL Gaming pulling it through to the tiebreaker. Rattlesnake looking pretty happy about that one, the new young gun on this EL roster. And, well, I sort of thought we were going to get to a pretty long game, and now we're here.
Yep, I was wrong. I thought this would be a little more one-sided, but EL's actually brought it back. They've had strong fundamentals. They haven't messed up in some of the basic stuff that I really like seeing. And Elevate, on the other side, has been sloppier. They've been a little bit more dynamic in some senses. They've been a little bit crazier, throwing out different strats, trying to kind of surprise their opponent more. But you've seen it backfire. You've seen it work. You've seen it not. It hasn't been the best. So now we're actually going to go off to Himmelsdorf. But before, look at the post-battle stats here. You're going to see the damage blocked, damage dealt. 3K from 2 members of EL. But the closest person is Brett with 2,100.
Yeah.
Damage just wasn't there this battle. It just was not there for Elevate. They were trying to play positions, trying to play a little bit of...
It's getting 0 damage done in his bat chat. That's definitely not what you want to be seeing.
That's not good. That's definitely, you're right. That's hard to look at, man. And so now what'll happen is we'll see who gets side choice on Himmelsdorf. It'll be the
fastest attacking side win. I'm trying to think, there wasn't any particularly quick attacking wins, was there?
No, nothing that stands out immediately. So I would hesitate to try and say I would know. Yeah, it's a bit soon to call. I'd let the admins see what they know, and they'll give us that. But to recap, on Himmelsdorf, which started the series,
which is also the tiebreaker map.
Exactly. We had an attack win by Elevate and an attack win by EL Gaming. Gaming. And on both of those times, I kind of was leaning a little bit more towards Elevate, as far as like if in the hypothetical of if they just kept playing Himmelsdorf, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think this one I'm feeling the Elevate vibe, but after the way Elevate just lost
on Cliff.
Yeah,
it's hard because the momentum coming into this now is on the shoulders of EL Gaming because they've just come off 2 victories. Elevate, they would have known they could have closed it out there on Cliff. They've probably been thinking, well, we might have missed the bus now. Like, are we going to lose it here in the tiebreaker after giving EL an inch back into this?
Right.
Is EL going to take the mile?
Yeah, is it going to be morale that decides this? Because we look at the players on either team. If you're familiar with the faces and these names, do you see anything right now out of the EL guys that says where they are?
No, I mean, they look quite comfortable right now, to be honest. The only one that I might even have any questions about would be Rattlesnake, because he hasn't been at a big event like this before. All the other players have been at fairly large events. I suppose even like M1, who is kind of newer to this roster in this season, formerly playing under the name Principal, he was at the Grand Finals in 2015 and was actually playing against EL Gaming, or it was 2014 actually, on Reform. He was playing against EL Gaming. So he's been at a big event like this as well.
Okay, so we'll have to see how these guys handle it in that sense. When I was looking over there at Elevate, I'm wondering how they're feeling going into this one, whether or not they're, you know, just feeling a little down, or whether or not it's just some frustration over not being able to get those wins that otherwise you might have thought. We're seeing actually from our positions watching the matches, we can actually see when players leave the stage.
Yeah.
And so we can actually kind of get a little peek at, you know, those expressions and see what's exactly.
I mean, Elevate, they just walked past us and they looked pretty comfortable, I thought. I didn't think they were too down.
I think I'd be able to tell if it was full tilt.
Yeah.
If it was full tilt from Elevate, you'd have seen Wallhacks probably in a very different state. But what I'm seeing out of Wallhacks, the caller right now, is he looked okay. He looked like, of course, he's just gotten through 12 battles in a row, which, I mean, that, let's be honest, that can be a little tiring. But they're probably feeling okay.
Yeah.
A little pep talk and turn yourselves around, get back into the game. You're probably fine as Elevate. As EL, yeah, they look calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah.
Question is whether or not they stay focused through the long series and whether or not some of those newer players are able to stay focused.
That's going to be a good thing to actually mention there for EL Gaming, is that they're not necessarily used to these long series, because when they play in APAC, they win 7-2, 7-3, 7-4, maybe that's the longest. But they don't go all the way to 13 maps, so how's the endurance going to be going for them?
You've actually got that completely lost me too. Elevate, same side.
Yeah.
That's what they do in NA. Wow,
They just
okay.
roll over everyone. So this is not something that these two teams may be potentially going to be used to.
Yeah, it's like they've gone to a tiebreaker before, of course.
Yeah.
They've gone to longer series, but you're right. They're not a team that's used to sitting down and going, okay, this one's going to be a full, 13. We're going to be here an hour and a half, 2 hours playing. We have to.
Well, it's been quite a while. Yeah, almost 2.5 hours now.
Yeah,
it's a long series.
That's something important to pay attention to. 2 hours is enough time that probably you're going to need to go to the bathroom twice. You're going to be thirsty. If you haven't had any water or anything to eat for 2 hours, you might start, feeling a little famished.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're watching for out of players, how they're able to deal with a 2 hour long match and whether or not they can keep up with it. Now, we're seeing players starting to return to the stage. Looks like a little bit of a deliberation strategy. Yeah. You got Dodo sitting in the back there. He's always he's a sharp guy. Not always going to be the one to lead a conversation, but whenever his contributions are usually fairly useful, I'd say. In playing or in working with him. He doesn't throw out ideas that he hasn't considered.
Bit different on the EL side, though. They're all sitting there, just chilling.
On comms, maybe? Their headsets
it doesn't even look like they're really having a conversation too much, because normally you'd see people looking at each other even when they're talking in the headset. They're kind of all just looking forward at their monitors and that sort of thing. So I wonder.
That is an interesting note. The contrast between the way that both teams are kind of looking at each other. Although in game right now, what they're doing is, I believe there's a warm-up battle happening.
It's just a test, yeah.
Yeah, so like what they're doing is the players you're seeing out of EL are a little more focused on making sure that they're keeping their fingers warm and they're making sure that they feel comfortable in that sense. So maybe taking the downtime before your tiebreaker battle to actually just play around in game is a better way of focusing their energy and their minds.
I think it depends on the individual, really.
Yeah.
It's up to what you prefer to do.
Yeah.
If you prefer to stay in there and keep playing, or if you prefer to just take a break, you know, chill out a little bit, reset.
Yeah.
It's down to the individual, really.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I'm one of those guys that I need to take short breaks.
Yep,
I'm not
too.
someone who does marathons. I go, okay, I'm going to play a marathon, but I'm going to take little breaks here and there.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's me too.
Yeah, because otherwise you start to just lose focus, or you just kind of, what is it, that shield over your eyes? You stop really seeing what's going on.
That's what I get that when I'm playing World of Tanks. Like, when I play for a long time, I sort of start playing poorly after 10 or 15 battles.
You play one really good battle, and then the next battle you play as if you're just as
good or invincible or whatever, right?
Yeah, as that previous battle where every other player you had complete control over. But now it's a new battle with new players, and I see where you're coming from. Yeah,
so that perhaps is the mentality here for Elevate, in that they've been playing for 2 hours or maybe a little over 2 hours. Just take a chill, step back. You know, they've lost those 2 matches. Maybe because of the fact that they've lost these 2 here on Cliff, they're thinking, well, we're not focusing as hard as we could be. We need to take a little bit of a reset break here. Take 5 minutes away from the game and calm down a little bit. Just not even think about the game for 5 minutes and chill out.
Yeah, take the headsets off, because here's the thing: especially if you wear glasses. Oh God, if you wear glasses and the noise dampening headsets there that they're pumping out white noise with, and you wear earbuds under, with glasses on for 2 hours wearing a headset, it starts to actually put a lot of pressure on the side of your head.
Yeah.
And so you actually need to think about taking your headset off and kind of relieving that, or else it really starts to get distracting.
Yeah.
And it's not horrible. Players usually can deal with it. Usually accommodations are made, but it's one of those things. I wear glasses. I know what it feels like to wear a headset for
Just
2 hours like that. It's the little things, and part of that live event experience, you know, because we've all had our LAN events where there's always, you know, people trying to come in, you know, on cheap flights to sleep on someone's couch and then do all that. But here, of course, we're paying for beautiful hotel rooms in the Palmyra, which is a great hotel.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think it's time almost to get underway here into the game. Elevate did get the choice of side. They chose attack, which is the side that they won on. So that means EL Gaming is going to be on the defense here.
I don't know, man. I like the defense on Himmelsdorf.
I would have chosen attack, I think.
You would have?
If I was one of those 2 teams, having won the attack, knowing Himmelsdorf generally biases the attacking side a little bit, attack is really the only option in my eyes.
I can agree with that. I'm torn. I'm not really as much of a truly heavy tank player personally, so of course my opinion comes to a lot less, I feel like, when it comes to side choice. I'd lean towards you a little more.
Okay.
Or I'd lean towards Daki. Stikils were much more common.
One thing I want to mention here, EL Gaming have decided to take a UDES, which you might be thinking, why have they got this here on Himmelsdorf? We've seen them do this actually a couple of times during the APAC region, and it just kind of seems to be like a curveball that really confuses teams. And what they do here, you can see Black doing it at the moment. He's got himself in siege mode. He sort of pokes the back of his tank up to spot down into mid. And that's really like the only purpose that it serves.
And what he can do from that is he can leave siege mode and immediately zip right out of that position if anything scary comes up.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, he's an incredibly stealthy tank.
Exactly.
That against, you know, the mouse or these Type 5s or 113s, he's going to spot them well before they spot him. So it's a nice play. Looks like Elevate calls it though. They know what's happening. They've got their tanks set up on the hill and down in the southwest, waiting for, I guess, some trigger pull or some intel before making the next move.
Yeah, and an E3 coming out as well for EL Gaming, which is not a tank that we often tend to see them playing. I guess on Himmelsdorf, what other tank destroyer are you realistically going to be taking here? Maybe an E4, the E3 or the E4, but it's not one of EL Gaming's comfort tanks, so to speak. Back in the grill meta, Fox TS would have 100% been in a grill right now, but it's not a tank that you pick anymore.
It really isn't. It's not as effective as it needed to be. It's too lightly armored for the damage output these days, and the mobility is okay, but there's better choices now, you're right. Especially with the mouse being added in as something that's now a first tier or a first round pick kind of a thing. If you've got mice running around, grills aren't standing a chance. They just don't stand up. And look at that, a little shot came in on Hardliner, and a shot into Rattlesnake.
Yeah,
Elevate.
favorable trades right now for Elevate.
Yeah, it's good for Elevate. They can play off of this.
My main concern here is Fox TS. If he gets caught out there, then EL Gaming are probably going to lose this. So he needs to be very, very careful with his positioning. A little bit more damage comes out into Elevate, but now they recognize that both of those tanks watching this B line have fired, and so they're going to try and push down now. Quiet in the E3 needs to get some damage across. He's going to be a key player. Fox TS is in a dangerous spot here as well. The Doma and Wallhack's pushing into him, and he needs to find some backup. This is looking so good for Elevate right now. Fox TS is almost dead. He's not even fired a shot. No, he's fired a couple, but they haven't penetrated. He's done nothing in that 50B. Elevate are pushing right into EL Gaming perfectly.
Oh, it's just artwork right there. Look, Hardliner's gonna go down next. Rattlesnake's trying to cover for Fox TS. Guess what? That's not gonna last very long, is it? Rattlesnake can only do so much, and Nitz, beautiful shot, snakes it right over Rattlesnake, gets the kill. Rattlesnake could be next. We'll see what Elevate decides to take.
I don't think it matters at this point. Elevate have got just so much more of an advantage over EL Gaming than what EL Gaming can try and pull back here. As far as I'm concerned, there's almost no chance that EL Gaming comes back into this, barring some major throw from Elevate.
Oh, and this is just textbook too. Throw some tanks on the hill, tanks down south, find out they're in the middle. Dodoma's gonna go down, yes, but that's black as well out, and now 4 tanks alive. Three correction. Rattlesnake is down as well. Not a lot left here for EL. Elevate. It feels like they were almost holding back.
It really does. They've just come out here and absolutely smashed EL Gaming. The setup for EL Gaming, it looked pretty decent as well, to be honest. Like, it was just Fox TS. He got caught out. He was in a poor position there. He had no backup, and that was really the straw that broke the camel's back there, I think, for EL Gaming. That position of the 50B.
Yeah, and it was back to basics too. It was a solid strat. It's tried and true, but the thing about it was EL was surprised.
Yep.
They got caught off guard. Elevate made the first move, and it worked. They got the tanks into position. They managed to get tanks shots on target as well, by the way. Big note right there. They were connecting. One more, and that's going to do it. Elevate.
They're through. Elevate through to the semifinals. 7-6 though. It was a bit of a shaky win over EL Gaming, but it was a win nonetheless.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned here. A lot of reflection to be made. And they will have a little time to reflect before they'll play another match. In the meantime, they get to watch all of their opponents play the rest of the day.
Wallhack's being left hanging a little bit there, but eventually he gets the handshake.
Oh, look at that. That's a little head shake right there, though. I know Elevate's going to be disappointed with themselves off of this one, but they understand, guys, we made it through.
Doesn't matter if you win 7-6 or if you win 7-0, you still go through to the semifinals. But we've talked about it enough. We'll hand it back over to Ryan and the analysts to break it down a little bit more.
Thanks very much there, Elfish and Rukil. Absolutely exceptional match between these two teams. Expected it to go potentially all the way, and that's exactly what we saw. Rockstar, you seem to be quite a happy man right now with all of this.
Oh, definitely. Proving that lobster wrong. So